beautifully broken down, down, down. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey.
This is the story of a man who is more machine than man, a man who is at odds with himself and others around him, the man, the machine, an attempt to survive. One day to fun with others was his wish, but that dream will never live in reality. attempt to survive. One day to find with others was his wish. But that dream will never live in reality.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back. Tonight we have got an absolutely fantastic game on our hands. We got all the juice. It's Royalty Esports versus WRG. Tournament lives are on the line. It's everything to play for. I'm joined by Nick. I'm not. I don't even have to ask the question because I already know the answer. You're as excited as I am about this game tonight.
Days we got the new guys on the block, and we got the guys that have been around the scene for quite some time. So
Yeah.
I'm highly excited to jump into it, and I know you're just as excited as me. But this is going to be a game, and I know these two teams, the map pools overlap a little bit. So I think we're going to see some hotly contested maps.
Yeah, generally that ends up leading to quite close, quite tight games, so that definitely increases the entertainment. I'm super keen for this game for a number of reasons, and I really like what you already touched on, how Royalty are one of the up-and-coming teams in the local scene. They're quite a young team actually as well. A lot of the players in their first early years of playing competitive Counter-Strike, whereas on the opposite side in WRG, you have some of the most seasoned players in South African CS, like Zeo, Custom, Tuckbook has been playing for a number of years now as well. Spaz is actually even super experienced, even though he's really young. And then Kyle to round out the roster. So I like that storyline and that narrative. It's great that you brought it up, and definitely adds to the occasion tonight. So remember, as I said, their tournament lives are on the line here. We're in the lower bracket this evening between these two teams. They both started out in the lower bracket after they placed in the 5th through 8th in their respective groups in the group stage. And WRG overcame Clutch Kings last night with a fairly convincing win. Royalty, well, actually, they started in the upper bracket, excuse me. They placed in the top 4. They placed 4th, played Goliath in the winners bracket, lost out to them, and that's how they've ended up here. So that's the context of our match tonight. Nick, I got a couple interviews, one with Doobie from Royalty and the other one from Zeo from WRG. I'm thinking I'm going to be playing one before the game starts and then another one in between the two maps. Which one do you think we should play first?
Look, WRG just came off a win off of damage control, so I think we want to hear from Zeo. You know,
Okay.
You want to hear from Zeo. I mean, Tian in chat, he says Doobie, so maybe. But I'm more keen to jump halfway through, jump in from Doobie, get a little bit of spice. But
Okay.
I'm good with either. But
Let's see
Chanchi
what
says
let's see what
Tian
chat
says
says.
Doobie, so
Let's see what
yeah,
chat says.
so-
Let me give them an opportunity to weigh in. I got an interview with each of them. I don't want to play them both yet because then I'm showing my hand. You know that's the trick. You got to keep a little bit of juice in the back pocket for later on in the match. You know, I don't want to be replaying both my
exactly.
interviews in the break. I want to keep the content fresh. So I'm only going to be playing one
You
of
can't
them
be
now.
oversalting your meat.
Exactly.
You got to get the spice from all sort of walks of life. You know, halfway through the series and play the other interview. But yeah, I think both of them are probably have content. Without a
Yeah,
doubt.
no,
I
for
haven't
sure.
watched them yet, but I'm keen. I'm keen.
Okay, no, cool. Well, not going to be much longer until we jump into the game here. They're currently doing the veto, so once that's concluded, they'll switch across to the relevant maps. So yeah, okay, well, fine. You know what, Nick? I'm gonna go with you, Chanchi. You know, I love you, my brother, but I'm gonna play the Zeo interview here. I did ask Nick first off, so it'd be a bit rude for me not to take his words. So I'm gonna jump straight in, guys. Hear what Zeo had to say. Zeo, looking back on the group stage, you guys ended up placing 5th in the group, just outside of that top 4. I'm probably thinking your guys' goal was to be placing in the top 4. How did it go? How was your guys' run?
We felt it was quite good. It wasn't too bad.
Okay.
We had to win. We had to get one more draw to get that 4th spot. So it was very close getting to that 4th spot. And yeah, we were trying our best, but unfortunately, we were just short of going to the top 4 there.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were literally 1 point behind XD, and it was quite ironic because you guys actually beat XD in the group stage, but then they ended up placing that 1 spot above you because of how a few of your other results went, you know, especially like the draw against OG, I think hurt you guys a little bit, and the draw against Ekasi in particular was also another one that set you guys back a little bit.
That's right. Yeah, we were struggling to close out games.
Yeah.
We were ahead like a few times, but
Yeah, I remember
yeah,
that.
you learn every time you lose, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's it. You don't take L's, you take lessons. That's the way. But I mean, even your guys' game against Dynamic, it was like 16-14, 16-12, and against Goliath, you lost 16-12 on one map. So there was definitely the potential there. It just goes to show, as you said, you weren't able to just keep it up for the whole map. And if you can do that, then you will be closing out those series. So definitely the potential. Anyway, as you said, you still make it to the next stage, in the 5th position, which means you're now seeded into the lower bracket. Let's talk a little bit about this. I mean, you played last night against Clutch Kings. A few words on that game?
Yeah, it was pretty good. We also got Takbok in, so we're
Yeah.
going through all the maps and getting ready like for this last few games and stuff like that. So it's pretty hard. Like we have to go through everything again and stuff like that. But
Okay.
Jan's he fits in very easily and he understands what needs to happen. He's a very
Yeah.
experienced player
And
and a
of
power
course,
bomb.
yeah, I mean, he certainly is a player who can take over the server. He has that ability. He came into the roster for Schneeks, of course. That was just a change that had to happen because Schneeks got really busy with everything that was going on. But you guys definitely won't be disappointed with the fact that you have Tuckbook.
No, definitely not. Like he fits in well with Cassie and the gents. We all play games together, so he's a very good fit for us as well. So we're very
Awesome.
fortunate to have him.
That's really cool, man. And then along with you three, of course, Spaz and Kyle, you guys have a nice dynamic going in the team at the moment.
Yes, definitely. Like the vibe in the team is very lekker, and like I said, it's I think there's good things to come in next year, and even maybe the next few games that's coming up in this VS.
So you guys are thinking long. Alright guys, well we're gonna actually have to cut that interview short because these guys aren't wasting any time. All of a sudden they're actually straight into the game, so we go into the game as well, and actually we've managed to get in before any life has been lost. WRG making their way up long, and it's just gonna be a stock standard take as they're crossing before the smoke even blooms. No chill on these players, and it doesn't matter when you're landing shots like that. However, there is still a man lurking in the corner, potentially can do some damage here. God's not dead, biding his time, but he peeks out and he's been spotted. He hasn't been able to get any frags either, and it was really important that he potentially got something done from that corner. Well, finally a frag does come through for Doobie.
Doobie takes down Kyle, and now it's Custom over towards Goose. The question is, do they clear him? They're not looking the right way. He's good for one, he's good for two. They almost line up with the third, but Donkey comes in with the trade. Tuckbook gets two, and WRG posts the first.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that I actually noticed that they were readying up. Normally the knife round is always done on Dust 2, and then we switch from there onto the map that's being played. And it turns out that Dust 2 was the map with the first map that was being played between these two teams. So that nearly caught me off guard, but we got there in time. And a nice pistol run from WRG, just keeping it really simple, right? Just sort of taking the approach that they're keeping themselves together as a unit, moving through long, making sure there's always trade potential, always keeping numbers on top of one another, and in the end, just having a pretty easy time of it. They even crossed CT without the CT smoke having popped yet, so like they weren't afraid of anything in that pistol round.
They came into this game full of confidence, and I think that's what we're going to see throughout the series. It's just both sort of sides, very confident players. You're really going to see if the confidence is brimming, you're going to see the kills correlate with that. So that is something that we've already seen from the first round, as you said, crossing before the smoke's blooming. They want to take those gunfights, even against the long range pistols. But that round, God's not dead. He was hiding over towards Goose.
Yeah.
He showed his hand probably a bit too soon. But with that regard, Leggy got caught in the cross. WRG get the first round, and now we greeted with the technical pause because Kyle's game's crashed. So just as things go, all the good stuff, and it is what it is.
Yeah, well, hopefully we just get all these little jitters out nice and early so that we can have a smooth display for the rest of the evening. So Nick, we haven't even really had much of a chance to talk about this matchup between these two teams, other than just painting the storyline of some of the up and coming players in the scene against some incredibly established players in the scene. Royalty have been actually turning heads in the past couple of months. They've also got an international coach as well. You want to tell everybody a little bit more about that?
I just know that David, he used to be the head analyst at CLG. He's coached at teams like Order, Team Secret, and stuff like that. So he's definitely got experience, and not the experience that we're attributed to more often than not in the South African scene. It's more so literally internationally. Order being an Australian team that got all the way to the Katowice Major at a stage. Team Secret, they're also a European / CIS team rather. So I mean, there's definitely experience with David, and I think we've seen that with how Royalty's progressed.
Yeah.
And we're also seeing a couple other international coaches getting brought into the scene. But Royalty, we've seen them seem to be the pioneers in that sort of regard. They've really taken the first step, and we're seeing that correlate with their results. I mean, the second round is on its way. We are seeing a force buy from Royalty. But yeah, we're seeing what David's got in store, what he's been teaching the players. I mean, you spoke to Doobie in the Just Chatting section. He alluded to what David has done for Royalty, just not just showing them how to play the game, but how to think
Yeah.
how to play the game, how to think about different strategies, different ways to think about playing the game we all know and love. But
Yeah.
second round is on its way, and I'm keen to jump right into it, huh?
And just one last thing that you spoke about, Royalty's coach and the impact he's had, you can just totally see it in their structure and the way that they've been approaching their game. It's been far more methodical than it was what it used to be, and it actually takes a while before this transition begins to yield results, because you actually have to iron out a lot of issues. But once you get on top of everybody and everyone's on the exact same page and everyone knows the movements they're supposed to be making across the map in terms with certain information that comes to play, that's when you can really start bringing this type of play style into effect. So it takes time, but once you get under wraps, it is very effective. More consistent than their older approach of, you know, relying on their stars to find the picks and open things up and then moving from there. So let's see what they can do in this force by WRG with 3 rifles and 2 MAC-10s to get the job done. And they're also being meticulous right now, making sure that they don't give anything away for free. You can see they're not taking any unnecessary fights, just holding passive angles while the core 3 make their way up short and just create a bit of a pathway towards the bomb site.
But there's this long push that has come in from God's Not Dead. He's going to take some contact, but on the bomb side, that is leggy. He's already dinked down Carl, but Custom has donked his number towards long, and oh, he actually takes down Doobie's head.
Nice.
Tuckbook takes down Leggy on the site, and now it's just damage control from WRG. EXE takes down Custom, and now they just got to do some damage, make this run competitive, ensure that WRG, if they do choose to invest highly into the next round, they just want to make it as expensive as possible, and God's Not Dead is going to do so. Oh,
Yeah.
lovely flick shot over towards Zio, but it doesn't look like there's going to be much else to say in the round. Second round pretty much on the board for WRG, and next round's going to be an eco for Royalty, so we're expecting 3. But with that being said, during I actually quite vividly remember this in the group stage. We saw since the 5-player Royalty on Dust 2, and Royalty won a full eco on that. But that was
Yeah.
the stock standard: smoke mid cross, hide the corner, call for the flash, and then
Yeah.
we'll see if something else entails similar. But I doubt that'll be the case. 2-0 going the way of WRG.
Yeah, I mean, actually, just a bit more of a backstory on that. I mean, Royalty actually even won that game 2-0, 16-8, 16-9, if I remember correctly. It was like 2 pretty one-sided games on Nuke and Dust 2. So they had some impressive performances in their group stage. Probably dropped a few points that they shouldn't have as well, which Doobie mentioned. But they still got through in 4th and made into the winner bracket. They are going to have to eco here as WRB has got 5 rifles. And again, they're not taking any chances, Nick. Look at how they're just splitting 4-1 right now in their anti-eco, making sure that they just always have backup. There's always a chance to trade and make sure that they can't get overwhelmed. I mean, there could only be one more CT than T in that area of the map, but because they had such far superior weaponry, that was never going to be an issue for them, and it seems like they're going to win this round without even dropping a... Okay, never mind.
Oh, never mind. Caster's curse. Gotta love it.
Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to seeing how Leggy pitches up tonight. He's going to have a tough game on his shoulders, that's for sure. I'm actually interested to see who's also going to be doing the AWPing for WRG now that Tuckbook has come into the team. Remember that Schneeks was the player before him and he used to do the AWPing, and Tuckbook traditionally has never been an AWPer. Custom, though, used to be one of the most bomb-diggity AWPers in South African CS. So I'm really hoping we get to see a Custom AWP tonight.
Custom on the AWP really rolling back the years, but we'll see what happens. I doubt they won't have enough money. I doubt they'll actually invest the AWP into next round. Maybe they do with regards to the bomb plants and the money that they get from that. But yeah, going into this map, I think Dust 2 is more of a map where both teams are relatively comfortable with the map, right? I think we saw that WRG, they're more than happy letting a BO1 go to a Dust 2 in that regard, and I think the same can be said about Royalty. I think both of them, clearly one of them picked it into this encounter. I'm not quite sure who did so in that regard, but I think this is a map where both the teams are relatively comfortable with it. So I think it's definitely going to be a closely fought first map going the way of... It really could go either way in that regard, right? But I think Royalty more so in that regard. They've got... I think they probably will edge it out, in my opinion, regarding just the map it is. But actually over towards Don. Tuckborg gets one, but Donkey out with the trade. And just... as you said, right? It's just both teams, they have a fairly good understanding. They both one rather being a bit younger than the other, but both of them having a good grapple of how to understand and how to play the game. And you saw that just right there, right? Just the trade and going out for flashes, and it's a 4v4 early in the round. I assume we're going to see quite a couple rounds like this. I think a long fight is definitely something Dust 2 is quite a theme on Dust 2. Trying to go for that
absolutely. Oh, Leggy going over with a bit of an overextension there. Just to talk a bit more about that long play you're referring to, it's really important to try and be the team to win those fights as early as you can in the half, because you sort of win a bit of a mental battle heading into the rest of the half. You force the opposition to change the way that they approach long, and they have to start being more passive, so you essentially get to take that map control for free. So I'm keen to see how that battle plays out through the rest of the half. Right now, Royalty are making their way up middle, and they're actually going to be walking onto a completely vacant, or rather, sorry, WRG are the ones who are walking onto a vacant B bomb site. But Doobie, with the timing, is able to catch Kyle off, but he doesn't need to do anything more than that. That frag alone was of high impact, because now it brings back to the 2v2, which is a far more digestible retake than the 2v3.
Especially on the B bomb sites of Duster, it's one of the more tougher sites to retake, even though the doors have been changed. But it's going to be Zio locking down the door and window position. He actually catches Donkey jumping through the smoke, and now it's Doobie left. 1v2, his position seems to be known. Spaz has his number, the first buy round going the way of WRG, and that round pretty much falls down to a bit of an overextension from Leggy. I don't think he thought that the players could have crossed towards the left side of short, and he was just caught with his pants down over towards short, and the round entailed further onto that. But 4 rounds posted for WRG with no reply from Royalty at this stage.
Yeah. Royalty just haven't really been hitting their shots just yet, but it's still super early days, so nothing really to be concerned about just yet. Auto Director deciding that we need to be... Alright, we're gonna have a reset. Does it ever do that to you as well, where it just automatically jumps you to like the third person perspective?
Yeah,
Like,
I think it's
just-
because...
Do you spectate with Auto Director normally, or because
Yeah.
obviously you have
Yeah.
the chance to jump around a bit more than I do? Because I'm just casting out of the OBS screen right now. I'm not actually in CS casting.
The thing I do is, like, if someone's making a big play or like hiding in a smoke, then I'll just go on them.
Yeah.
But obviously I can't talk about my perspective, and I'm observing myself. And
Yeah.
then you've got someone else on your screen. I'm like, Leggy, very nice USP he's got you.
Yeah, I
Meanwhile,
know.
we're looking at customs AK.
It's just,
so,
sometimes you can't rely on Auto Director, like there's literally a fight going on with like a 2v3 on the B bomb side, and then you're just like watching somebody flick through their knife and their pistol on the opposite side.
Yeah.
And it's just like, can you not, please?
yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
just why sometimes we'll not be following the exact person we should be, if anybody was wondering. Anyway, it looks like Kyle's having a few technical difficulties tonight. Hopefully this isn't going to be a theme of things to come, and he's able to figure out what's going on. But WRG getting off to a good start here on Dust 2.
100%. And you spoke about that long take, and I think it's especially something that you see a lot of pro teams really iron out, right? I think I can't remember what team, but they do it quite. I think it was Astralis. They take long and they just leave device and pit for the whole round. If you overextend on A, you get your head taken off in that sort of regard, and then you can take map control elsewhere. You can work on some A splits, or even do an. Because when you have that player in long, not only do you not have information, but you have the idea of they could hit A whenever they choose to do so. So then you could get caught rotating a player over, then people could just hit B, and then it's just like that long battle that goes down early in the round is extremely strong for either team to win it. If you're a CT and you win long control, you deny so much info, and you deny that extra avenue for the T's to hit the A bomb sites. And with that being said, also the late long take that we could see come in, often teams molly long doors. Three players would sit in long doors, extinguish the molly with a smoke early, flash over, try catch some CTs with their nades out, or playing anti-flash with that regard. So I think it's definitely a theme that we definitely be keeping an eye on with regards to how this map unfolds. But so far, it's been WRG just winning out the gunfights. They posted 4 with no response. It's an eco from Royalty. And I think throughout the game, it's going to be something to keep an eye on, that long take from either side, and different styles in which it can be done.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with more with everything you said. And that's one of the really important things to grasp on the T side of Dust 2, is how to use that long control, whether you're taking it early and you're posting that player, and all the options that opens up. Often you see teams, sort of just committing off the back and not realizing that there are alternative options. It looks like the pistols are making something happen, but of course WRG realize that when they see so many players in Upper Dark that they can just walk onto the A bomb site relatively easy. Of course, they're just being slightly precautious so as to not get caught out any further. There has been a response from Doobie, and he does have the Desert Eagle, so maybe he can do some damage, but he's not going to land the shot. And that should be the round solidifying frag found by Kyle.
There is an AK to be retrieved in Upper Dark, as you said. Actually, there's 2. That's these are big for Royalty, especially if they want to save. Royalty, sometimes they do rely on that double AWP setup. I don't think it's as common on a map like Dust 2, but it can be used. Maybe an AWP posted up back plat on B, and then the AWP focusing around like a car area, AWPing elbow, AWPing bottom middle, something
Yeah.
along those lines. But two AKs on the side of these Royalty players. I mean, EXE on an AK and on the CT side, that's something that's a scary prospect when you're WRG running into a bomb site, knowing just EXE's raw aim and what he can do on the server. But it seems like WRG, they're just going to respect the fact they're going to give them the two AKs, and we're going to see another full buy round. 5-0 is the score to WRG.
Would you agree with the sentiment that XE and Leggy are the two heaviest hitters on Royalty side?
I think Doobie is close. I think Doobie is probably interchangeable with EXE in that regard. I think
Okay.
Doobie himself is very mechanically strong, and he knows a lot about the game. He had a stint with Good Gaming prior to this. He had
Yeah.
that was in a team with Malkies and Rusty, if I remember correctly. So, but I agree, Leggy definitely he's up there. He can really carry a team when he's back.
Yeah.
I rate him as the top 3 AWP in the country. So. It's going to be interesting to see what sort of pistons Leggy can fire at in
Top
the series.
3, Nick. I mean, off the top of my
I
head,
think it's pretty
I'm
safe.
already. I mean, I've already thought straight up. You know, you got
Slowy ADM,
ADM,
Leggy.
Slowy. Yeah, okay. Slowy ADM for sure. Those are the first 2 names that come to mind. I mean, you got Panda and Energy, who's like one of the really consistent AWPers in the scene. Then you've also got Heartbreak and Dynamic. When Heartbreak's on, like I rate Heartbreak super highly as well. But I see where you're going with it. Leggy's definitely up there. I think Leggy just needs to prove himself a bit more consistently. Like the potential is there 100%, but it's just about whether he can consistently perform at that level. That's what I'm waiting to see, especially when the going gets tough and there's some pressure on the situation. But he's still super young and has a lot of years left ahead of him, so there's some very good signs there for him early on. We do see Custom with the AWP in his hands as well. I saw it got confirmed in chat by Zin saying that he AWPed against him last night. Zin, if you're still here, how did that go? I mean, was he on fire? Was he as good as he used to be in like the 2015-16 days with that weapon? I wonder if Royalty can get on the board here. Nick, they've at least been able to keep all 5 players left alive here before there's any aggression from WRG, and God's not dead. Spray through the smoke, gets a kill, and he does damage, but it's a fake, as the majority of the aggression is going to be coming up short here for WRG. They do force Leggy off the angle, so they're going to secure the bomb plants at the bare minimum.
5v3 retake, and short control has been solidified for WRG. That is Custom holding it down with the AWP, but having these players stuck on the side would be a bit of a tough one to go off of. Leggy still got that molly to flush out these positions, and a good nade from EXE is going to do some damage over towards the play on Gandalf. And Custom with a bit of a preemptive peek, not suggesting that they could be on the sites, and just stock standard retake from Royalty. No one dies, very methodical in that regard, just molling out the angles, holding them, flashing into the sites as easy as you like.
Yeah.
First round on the board posted for Royalty. But something I want to allude to there quickly is, over towards the Game Cup, I was able to watch WRG quite often through to the Predator Winter Slam as well as the Game Cup. They really highly fall back on that mid to B. You'll see them throw. We saw that run. They threw 2 mid to B smokes. It's almost like the mid to B smoke is their default for WRG.
Okay.
You'll see them throw it quite often, even though they'll maybe only send 1 player out and try to fake that mid to B. So that'll be something else to keep in mind. But this long battle once again going the way of Royalty. Donkey gets 2.
Yeah. And
Without taking a decent amount of damage,
Yeah, that's a successful take for Royalty, and you can see that's why WRG are trying to shift things up a gear now. They realize they need to do something in response, and the answer is a quick short take. They've actually gotten pretty far forward here, but that must be a missed molly there, unless he was afraid of the player being on the angle, I suppose. And he did have a flash, so I'm not going to buy into that one.
But
So that's
after the CTs are able to take long like this, then it allows Leggy to AWP this angle towards elbow, which is extremely hard. You can miss a shot, fall back to a favorable angle, and wait for them to run into you again. But it's just going to be the battle that goes down. Oh, Kyle has his number. Zero's dropped Donkey over towards long. And just as I was praising that setup,
Wow.
it just gets decapitated.
I mean, you were spot on with everything you were saying. It's really tough as the T side to actually clear that AWPer off the angle. It takes some very effective util usage, but seems like Royalty do want to consider having a crack at this. both Xe and Doobie pushing up from CT, and Xe spots Kyle on the cross, and now that they know exactly where the remaining two Royalty players are, Royalty realize that there's just too many factors working against them right now, so they're going to go for the save. But I agree with you. I mean, when there's an AWP on that angle from the CT's perspective, it's actually very tough to deal with him. It requires super effective utility usage to keep pushing him back and try not blinding your own teammates who are pushing forward at the same time. And we've seen quite a few different innovations with smokes and mollies as well, with teams trying to push that player back. But I mean, when you see some of the best AWPers in the world on that angle, it almost looks impossible to push up short. Like when you've got Fallen posted when he's in his prime, it's just like, why would you even try and go there?
It just seems like free kills sometimes, and then you're watching it back and you're like, how does this AWP get such free kills? Because it's just like you miss a shot, you can fall back. It's very easy to fall back to safety and repost another angle, and they have to cover a lot of distance to get up close and personal with you, which is why that AWPing angle is so powerful. But Royalty, they still got that 3-round or 4-round of loss bonus, so they're able to fully invest in this round. And Royalty, they're actually not choosing to go for that long take. They're actually rather taking short control.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Which is also something.
Yeah, WRG have been actually showing a lot of presence throughout short in this half so far. So Royalty trying to show a bit of presence there as well, not changing things up here too much, but they do want to make WRG change their approach slightly, not just taking that map control for free. But in response, because WRG have long control, they're just going to continue to push on from here. They've got that player lurking in lowers as well. That's Tuckbook, and he can be an absolute nightmare when he's on the T side. He can just find gaps in the defense at ease. But look at this flash play, although it's not going to work out. God's Not Dead gets taken down, and that's certainly going to be opening up the safe bomb side for a bomb plant.
I don't know if they know whether that CT player is so close. That is Doobie. I don't know whether they know he's so close. He's going to... I assume he's going to push that long area and press the issue. He's good for one, and on the spray, can't transfer, he can't get the next one to Kyle, but EXE is going to come in and carry the weight. He's good for two, and now they have an idea of where one player is, but they don't know about the short flank coming in. Custom over towards CT. That's a free kill, but it's the player over towards short. Tuckbox made his position on. Leggy's missed a shot, the spray, and this bomb stick comes in, and as you said, that's a bit of a head scratcher. It's planted like safe, pretty much. I think it was planted behind the boxes for short.
It was planted,
so it's not really planted for anyone.
It was planted by Goose behind the boxes on that side of them.
Yeah, so like who's that planted? Like
I think Spaz. I think it was Spaz who was planting, and I think he was scared about the player jumping up from CT and spraying him while he was planting the bomb, maybe. So that's why he decided to plant there. But in the end, it cost them in the long run. They're going to try and reaggress outside of long, but Royalty have got their numbers here to try and deal with it. But unfortunately, they don't have enough numbers. Zio coming through the smoke swings the round back into his team's favor. Even though they've traded evenly, this certainly favors the T side. There's so much time left on the clock. They still have util at their disposal. And now with only 3 players left on the CT side, they need to gamble as to how they're going to set themselves up on the map. Still with one player committed to B, they can never fully commit to one angle because they're trying to cover mid, short, and long now. And you can see that's why they've completely changed their setup. Leggy's getting aggressive on short so as to not expose himself from long. Doobie's pushed up to the CT doors or to the middle doors so he can't be taken down from long. And this is some good adjustments from Royalty. All in the meanwhile, Xe's actually pushed up through upper dark. So he's getting a bunch of info, but he might bite off a bit more than he can chew because there are 2 players coming from T spawn. Doobie gets a frag as well.
Do you think they cleared this?
I mean, it depends how loud they are. I like that they're actually shift walking here. Xe's going to be starting to push forward as well. I'm just watching this play out on the minimap right now. Doesn't want us to see what's going on. Spaz, though, does find the frag, and now WRG are going to be charging onto this B bomb side. You can see Custom. He wants to be checking the flank, and that's exactly what he's going to do in a moment's time. All right, maybe not. Oh, he actually has the bomb, so he has no choice but to commit to the plant. He does have cover from short though, but Spaz should be taken down here. Almost a guarantee, but Custom able to land that quick trade with the AWP. Now he wants to get aggressive. He wants to force the issue here. Leggy has an AWP of his own. He just shot walks through the smoke. And he's going to be able to land a nice fast shot as well. Royalty winning a 3rd round here.
That again, that long take. 3v3 with 20 seconds left, with 20 seconds into the round, and that's something we're going to see throughout the map. But as you said, I think the mid-round adjustments from Royalty were actually worked out to perfection. Maybe the push upper dark from EXE was a bit much in that regard. Like you've already got short control, you know they're probably not going to come short. Do you really need that player to push upper dark? Maybe that's a bit of a hair scratcher. I think either or you can make arguments for either player, whether the player sits on the sides or maybe outside the doors with them being changed. But be there as it may, The 3v3 was won out ultimately by Royalty Esports, with Leggy staying alive, clutching out that 1v1. And another full investment from both sides. But this is a pretty important buy round from both sides. If WRG loses, they're going to have to eco next round. The same could be said about Royalty. So this we could be seeing this go to a 1-round game, or WRG lengthening out to 5.
Yeah. Seems like this game's just starting to warm up, Nick, to the expectations that we've had for it. Royalty starting to find their footing here. You can see that the players are starting to hit their shots as well. Remember, WRG did play an ESCA game before this, so they were a bit more warmed up, I assume. You know, the comms were on because they'd already been playing in the officials, so everything was waxed.
Everything's been fine-tuned, but God's not there playing close to mid-doors. This is often a
Yeah.
position that gets mollied out, but often if you molly it out every round and then there's one round you don't molly it, that's the round there actually happens to be a player there, and God's not there. He's going to get activated. The flash doesn't, him playing anti, he can turn around, get all the
Yeah.
info, and
Got the bait
Looks
and
to be a
switch
mid to
there
B.
as well with Doobie. As soon as he takes contact, that's when Doobie can swing out and give him supports, and they are going to be pushing forward. But Tuckbox able to find the frag, and Kyle with the 180 swivels also able to take down Doobie. So it's WRG who actually win that little skirmish towards middle, and they're going to be trudging on towards this B bomb side. There is a CT, and it's XE, and he's maneuvered himself around the side. He's going to be catching Kyle off guard. Nice movement from him as he takes down Zio as well. The bomb plant's going to come through, but XE's moment of brilliance here has actually secured a one-man advantage for Royalty as the bomb goes down. But Tuckbook on the angle, just going to commit to the spray down. He's able to take down 2 of the players entering the bomb site. Flash was ineffective, and now it's just Leggy left. Traded up for the M4 at least, so he's going to have a bit more diversity as he pushes into the bomb site, but he receives the same treatment as his teammates.
just that flash just going a little bit too deep for the player playing towards big box. I think that would have been more flash if the player was playing to the right of big box. He was rather playing to the left, still unseen from window. His teammate had that covered, and ultimately just good post plant positions are what is Royalty's demise in that round. The flash not going their way. 7's posted on the board for WRG, and it's another eco coming out for Royalty. So I assume it's going to be 8-3 if the Counter-Strike gods allow it to be. So usually we see rounds like this always just have some sort of storyline, and you never know what's going to happen. But it looks like it's going to be 8-3. The flashes come through, and just as I say that, 1v1 trade, EXE coming in with the USP. But that's allowed Kyle to push towards up B, and Doobie playing up close. 2 body shots from the Deagle sort out him well, but Tuckbook tagged down to 34. He may have actually been dinked through custom, but be there as it may, it's an upgrade for EXE. He's able to retrieve that AK.
Yeah.
Nice team is just going to save that into this round. 8-3 looks to be the score.
Yeah, WRG getting back to winning ways here on the T side as they're about to now string 2 rounds together. I thought that Royalty might be starting to mount a bit of a defense here on the CT side, but we see that WRG still have a few more gears here. Leggy hovering, potentially looking for an exit frag. See if he can take a weapon into the next round. He's got plenty of money, so this is totally fine. He just actually has to keep them in the bomb site at the bare minimum. But he's going to get taken down by Tuckbook, so they should be able to survive the bomb explosion.
Everyone
8-3.
survives.
Oh, and also, by the way, this is
8-3.
Royalty's map pick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Nuke
So what are we
is going to be
seeing?
up next. And
Nuke,
then,
Inferno Decider?
yeah, Inferno Decider, that's it. So this is actually
Gotta love it.
a series of maps that suits both of these teams. It's almost like their 3 strongest maps on both sides. I would maybe go as far as to say.
Yeah,
I know
agree with you
Royalty
100%.
actually play Nuke regularly as well. So this is going to be a banger of a series as WRG are going for this long aggression once again. They've actually won this more often than not. Lots of damage being done through the smoke. Finally, Gosnod's going to clear out on the other side, and he loses his life as a result. Leggy frantically trying to see if he can get something done with the AWP, but he has no choice but to fall back. Finally, he is able to get a kill though. Tuckle crossing before the smoke, trying to force the issue. Ends up leading to his demise, but still not the end of the world for WRG as they get themselves onto the side. They have the 1-man advantage, and they will get the bomb plant. It's also a double AWP, Nick. I didn't realize Doobie also had an AWP heading into this round, so they're immediately going to be saving. Don't want to be risking losing that double AWP, but what a strat for WRG to pull out the bag when Royalty have a double AWP setup, right?
100%, and I don't know if they just fell back on that long take, but we saw them losing it out more often than not, or in that regard, they went for like 2v2 trades or 1v1 trades. So that's more of a win for the T's. But I think they may have assumed that Royalty were going to fall back on the double up, and then it's a perfect time to hit
Yeah.
the long area of the map, right? Just the flashes on point. Tuckbook, as you said, pushed the issue before the CT smoke bloomed. And if anything, that's just a misplay from Tuckbook. So it's a bit misleading that Tuckbook even dropped that round, right? Should have just been a five man alive for WRG, but be there as it may. 9-3 is the score, and the economy for WRG is looking really good. The double orb setup is once again out for Roti. Obviously, they were able to save those 2 orbs. Donkeys on that FAMAS. So I think WRG, they just the team play just seems to be better than Roti's at the moment. I don't know what happened there with the late long from Roti. They would seem to just be scrambling later in that round. Maybe a bit of a miss by the start. I wasn't able to catch that completely, but be there as it may, 9-3 is the score.
Yeah.
And Royalty, they really need to start posting something up. Yes, it's a T-sided map, but you can't be going 12. You can't be going 12-3 down on the CT side.
In particular on your own map pick, right?
100%.
So WRG have got long control once again, but they're just going to be faking it this time as they show quite a lot of presence. 2 of the players actually look like they're going to be committing to the cause here. Zero and Custom, the deadly duo in South African Counter-Strike. Well, as I said, that Custom just throws the support smoke, and now he's going to be fading back, while there are 3 players lying in wait in upper dark right now for WRG. They're just biding their time, waiting for the opportunity to pounce. XE pushing forward, might be biting him for a bit more than he can chew as he comes around the corner. He's actually going to take down Spazzy. Nearly finds the triple kill. There's a quick response from Doobie as well as he gets on the angle with the AWP. It's a bit unfortunate for WRG because they've actually successfully found some frags towards the A-bomb side, but that's of little consolation right now because that bomb is dropped firmly in control of the CT side. It's left on Custom to try and clutch it out. He knows that there was a second player towards tunnels, but God's Not Dead has just hightailed it into this B-bomb site, and I really like this decision from as well, just to link up with his teammates and not give Custom any opportunity to find 2 1 versus 1s in the 1v2.
And he's got a smoke that he can drop towards upper dark, which will buy him 18 seconds. Doobie is covering that position right now, so the problem is if Custom chooses to walk out the window, there's going to be a bit of an issue. But Custom, the clutch minister in South Africa himself, 1v3.
Yeah.
Turned 1v2. 15 seconds left on the clock. He is going to come through window. I think he made a sound cue, but he gets the first. Doobie with a no scope. Almost a 1v3 for Custom. But 9-4 is the score. And, I mean, Royalty, if they post up a 9-6 half, you're looking at a very competitive second half, but the money's not going their way. But EXE, I thought that would have been a bit of a preemptive push towards upper dark, but he gets 2. And that ultimately was a large factor in Royalty winning that round.
Yeah, I think he was actually just going for a bit of an information play because of the presence that was being shown at A, and it actually works out with him getting the double kill. So fantastic moments of individual brilliance from him, securing that 4th round for Royalty. But they have to string a few more together here, Nick. I mean, they would really like to get the 6-9 scoreline heading into the second half. WRG probably have enough money to buy up in the next round, even if they lose this. It's not going to be like the full buy with full util, but they'll have AKs on a couple players, so it's going to be formidable regardless. And they're going to be waking their way towards short util coming in. It's effective because it forces Donkey to turn around even if it doesn't blind him. So that is the first point of map control secured. It's going to continue after that. They want more, but Leggy finds the frag even though he's blinded up.
Oh, Tuckbook. He's been a bit wild with these crossing before smoke's blooming, but
It is Tuckbook,
I respect
my
it.
man,
I respect
so
it. Yeah, it is Tuckbook.
Shouldn't be surprised.
But be there as it may, it seems like Royalty are back for more. Tuckbook takes out Doobie as God's Not Dead, drops the bomb onto Spaz, and he's flashed and get out of there, but he's actually going to stick around. Him being on 5 points of health, he could actually drop down and lose his life, but
Man, oh
Leggy's
man.
caught in transition. Just a great mid-round play from Custom. He's just lurking out long, no util thrown, and the A-bomb side is going to go the way of WRG. And the question is, do Royalty choose to save it? It is a 2v3 retake. There's a molly, and God's Not Dead, but he's also on 5 points of health, and I think it is possibly going to be the save call, I would assume, especially when you got inferior weaponry.
Yeah, I think maybe they're looking for some exit frags at the bare minimum, but that's probably all the conversation's about right now. How's that timing on the push from Custom as he comes through long, catching Royalty off guard like that? Also just identifying what his teammates are doing right there in that moment, the way that they're taking all that attention towards short, taking all the fights, exchanging blows, you know, trading kills. That's when he activates and he pushes forward. He's got a really good read on the game, very good understanding as well. And yeah, certainly a a player, one of my favorites to watch in local CS. Always has been, always will be. 10-4
Yeah,
here
I mean,
as WRG continue
Cus-
their surge.
Custom, like if he can win 1v5s, I mean, against the top teams in the country.
He's
like,
the Iceman,
just-
my guy. He is
yeah,
literally one of
just-
the coolest, calmest, and most composed players in South African
Yeah.
CS. You won't see him
Just-
sweat.
yeah.
He doesn't flinch. He does not
doesn't,
flinch.
yeah.
He 1v5s. It looks like he just, ordered a Big Mac at McDonald's. Man's just so
He's
chill.
just aimbots it is, but 10-4 is the score, and Royalty are doing this late long once again, sending four players there rather, just taking it a bit longer. And EXE, he's actually picked up the AWP to solo this B bomb side. Donkey is on the MP9, inferior weaponry, as we said. Donkey is actually, he's had enough of the MP9. He just threw it out. Why not? But it's going to be a default once again coming out from WRG. They've taken pretty much all their map control besides that of Long. Royalty are going to be pretty much stuck on the bomb side, but they seem to have this read of having 3 players over towards A, but they're just going to lurk out towards bottom middle. No mid smoke needed. I don't think there was one thrown at least, so interesting once again. Flash short comes in. Doobie catches one, and full blind means that Kyle can't trade, but that's the bomb that's just been dropped, and AKs that are allowed to be retrieved. The XC catches Tuckball, but pushing through with the window is Custom, but he's got to be bomb side open, but not with the bomb on his back. Close bottom
Yeah.
middle is Zio, and God's Not Dead seems to have the idea of where he's coming from, but God's Not Dead, he knows his time is numbered. Pushing the smoke is, I think that's a bit preemptive, but God's Not Dead catches Custom from B, and 5-10 is the score. I mean, if God's Not Dead and the boys win the pistol round, you look at a very competitive second half.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Royalty got themselves enough rounds to be, okay with the situation. They're not going to be beaming, but I think 5 rounds is sort of the bare minimum where you're still okay with the way that the half turned out. As soon as you're into that like 11-4 territory, 12-3, obviously that's where it starts to get really grimy. So I think 10-5 is fine, but there is certainly a lot more weight on the pistol round, so let's see what they're going to be bringing to the table. They've got 3 flashbangs, 2 smokes, a P250 on Doobie as well, and it doesn't seem like they're going to be wasting their time either. Doobie, he is the player who's leading the charge there with the P2, just looking to see if he can do some early damage, throwing the lurk smoke so that they can just buy themselves a bit of time and space. And they're going to go for the boost. Seemed like they might just be setting up for that, but they're just grouping up side of the smoke. They're going to be bursting through now onto the side, but there's some support util coming through from the CTs as well. Spaz rocking onto the shots through the smoke connects on one, so does Custom. Tuckbook's been able to get a kill as well, and it's an absolute bloodbath, and it's the royal blood which paints the floor of Dust 2 B-bomb site.
Not a single rabbit falling in that round. The rabbits just ultimately just the support util coming out there and them walking into 2 on the B bomb site. Royalty, that is. WRG just winning out the gunfights, and I assume Royalty's gonna go for a full eco into this round so they can get the AKs out next. 11-5. Oh, it's a bit of a rip in that regard, but you need the superior weaponry if you are gonna look at mounting a comeback. It is just gonna be a straight up short rush. They are gonna meet Z over there, but he's got the MP9. He's gonna be eco farming. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Burn to the molly, Doobie, and God's Not Dead, and now
jeez.
DXC left scratching his head. He needs to execute the clutch. 1v5 it is, a Glock in hand. 12 looks like it's going to be on the board for WRG, and now Royalty, they need to start mounting a comeback. They need to start
Yeah,
taking all the kitchen spoons out to sort out some sort of hiding. Hey, 7 rounds behind.
Jeez, Nick, is that the approach your parents took with you? Jeez. Some PTSD with the wooden spoon?
Yeah, especially when I'm 7 rounds down in my Counter-Strike game. I'm not happy with that.
Really?
Not
Is that
happy.
when they brought it out? Alright, well, I mean, that's kind of the reinforcement I can actually get behind. I'd probably do some of those parents. Just keep the kid in the basement and beat them whenever they do badly. Yeah, I don't know. Sounds like my.
You said
parenting
rush
techniques.
B? Bad call. Bad call.
Oh man, just like you said, this gun round has got so much importance right now for Royalty. Lose this, and this half is going to be turning into a dire situation. They need this even just to boost their confidence and give them belief that they have what it takes to make this comeback happen. This is the first gun round. It's something I was talking about last night. When you're making a comeback, the first gun round is super vital because it's going to be what gives you the realization that the comeback is certainly doable. But if you lose that first gun round, it's just like you're gonna have no faith for the rest of the rounds to come.
Such a mental blow.
Yeah.
But be there as it may, we'll see what unfolds. I mean, Donk has taken contact over towards Long quite early, so Royalty assume that the long doors might be occupied, but they're just going to creep up short. Playing up close is Kyle. He's playing anti those two.
Yeah, look at what WRG have done though. After they take long control and they show presence, they just drop back all the way and they actually start covering short because they know that Royalty are going to be expecting them to be, you know, committing some of their resources to long, whereas in actual fact they're now covering short. It's a double bluff. Or it's a single bluff in this case, actually, as Royalty now push through in the middle doors. But Zio with the MP9 fully blinded is going to find one, and he does a massive amount of damage to God's Not Dead as well. Off the back of that, Royalty are going to start pushing in towards this B-bomb site, but there's a couple players here to try lock down the defense. Custom and Spaz chiming in with a few frags between the two of them. As the dust settles and the smokes bloom, it's a 2 versus 2.
Oh, that Leggy's dead.
No.
Oh, never mind.
Guardian Angel.
2v2. Leggy is low, and there's a play coming up towards tunnels. This flash from Carl's going to allow him to activate, but his position is known. Doobie's blind, but he's able to finish it out. But I think Spaz, if he just wait... Oh, he was actually in upper tons. Never mind. Okay, Doobie just peeked upper tons, I assume there. I wasn't actually spectating him. I was about to say if Spaz waited for the flash and then he activated, it would have been better, but I think Doobie just swung him there in upper tons. I think Doobie's still confident. He still knows that he can bring them back. I mean, he's 16 and 12 currently on the Royalty side. He's firing. He just needs his teammates to help him out a little bit. The same can't be said about Kyle. He's 8 and 13 on the WRG side, but Custom, as you said, we've sang his praises so often. He's 18 and 9. 12-6 is the score, though. Another double positive there.
Yeah.
But it is going to be an eco coming out from WRG, and Royalty on the T side, they won the first gun round, as you said, as you alluded to. It's extremely important to do so. You need to start mounting that comeback. But now it's important that they make these next rounds clean. They need to get a hold of their economy. They want that AWP out on Leggy. Taking some long picks early with regards to spawns or just holding that mid cross. It's very powerful for an AWP to do, especially on this map. I think something that everyone remembers is the 5 AWPs holding middle. Like one of the most iconic plays. It just shows how important the AWP is on a map like Dust 2. But
yeah.
12-6 it is an eco from WRG.
Yeah, some unfamiliar territory for them, right? They've been living the life of ballers. They've had money pretty much throughout this entire map. They've had the luxury of having rifles and AWPs at their discretion. But now they're just going to have to try and get something done with the pistols. But for the moment, nothing has really come to fruition as Royalty are mopping things up across the board. Nice attention to detail from Royalty as well in that anti-eco round. Not doing anything too risky, not sending anybody out by themselves. Just staying closely compact as they move around the map as well. Just making sure that the trade is always available in case they get caught off by a CT player or two. And vitally, they keep all 5 players alive here, and I don't think any of them are going to be going down considering the positioning of the remaining 2 CTs, which is going to be a really nice boost to their economy. When you're making the comeback, you never want to be in that position where if you lose one round, you then get your economy reset and you sort of either have to force buy or save. It's just such a demoralizing position to be in. So this is going to give them a nice little buffer in the economic sense and mentally as well.
100%, and as you said, if you lose a round, or when you lose a round in many sort of circumstances, if you've cleaned up these anti-ecos really cleanly, and in this case everyone's looking good for a buy regardless if they fell, if you clean up these anti-ecos or the partial buys that the CTs are throwing at you, and with the extra addition of getting the bomb plant down, it's really important that you're able to get those 5 AKs or those 4 AKs and an AWP up on the board. So I agree with you 100%. You really need to make these rounds clean. And 7-12 is the score. But once again, that's another buy coming out from WRG. There's no AWP on the side of Royalty. God's Not Dead. He's still sticking with that Galil. Kyle will hope he's not on the other side of it without having head arm in that regard. But 7-12, and it's going to be interesting to see how this map plays out in the further rounds.
Yeah, Royalty with their backs against the wall right now need to make sure that they don't start going too much into a shell on their T side, because then they're going to be just starting to play against themselves essentially. They've got to stay true to themselves in the game plan. You know, sometimes that can be a symptom of a team who's quite far behind, is they just start becoming a little bit nervous and they don't play with the same sort of prowess that they normally do. And this team, they've got a lot of flamboyance about them. They've got some swagger amongst their individuals, and it's important they stay true to that.
100%, and WRG, they're choosing for this double B setup, which we saw Royalty not do the same. They had a solo B player and then a player over towards bottom middle. more often than not, but they usually have 2 players over the team. There's going to be contact over towards Long. It's going to go down. Donkey with the double entry to perfection. Zio gets 1, but his life gets fallen in the meantime as Leggy's just going to juggle around with the bomb a little bit, but there's a 3v4 retake. There's 2 flashes for the retake in this regard. I think if you're WRG, you can't invest next round. The loss bonus is going to allow you to drop over a couple weapons. I think if you're WRG, you should possibly save it, and that's exactly what they're going to do. But as I
Yeah.
was saying prior, WRG, they're going for this 2-1-2 setup, and Royalty, we saw often that play a player over towards upper B early, that EXE and Doobie are a lot of the B players, but later in the round, you're going to see EXE anchoring that position with Doobie playing towards bottom middle, and possibly 3 players anchoring, leaning over towards the A bomb side. WRG choosing for a bit of a different setup, and maybe they're going to choose that because now they've lost A on a full buy round, but we're going to see how they choose to play that. We haven't seen a real proper long take coming out from Royalty. They just lurked out long that round, got the kill onto Tuckball. Zio only able to get 1 with the trade coming out from Donkey with a clean double entry, but 8-12 is the score, and now Royalty are starting to make it competitive.
Yeah.
They've got the money in the bank, the AWP is out on Leggy, and now we're seeing the meat and potatoes of this map come out.
Yeah.
8-12 is the score, and I'm excited to see how this unfolds.
Yeah, you and me both. We certainly are getting back into that close proximity situation, you know, an eco again for WRG. Not to say that they don't have some pieces on the board right now that could get them across the line in this round. You know, they've still got those 3 rifles. There's armor on 4 players as well. They've got a little bit of util to work with. Keen to see what WRG are going to try and make happen in this round. Looks like they've got 3 players towards short right now, with sort of just Zio leaning towards long. It's fairly stock standard though. Just posting on some passive angles. I thought they might try and get a little bit aggressive and see if they can unsettle Royalty, who aren't being too aggressive themselves. Fairly passive defaults, in fact, with XE tasked with spotting shorts. I'm not sure if he actually saw them on the jump spot there.
Yeah, that's what I was also wondering, or maybe even the sound key, the double swing, but be there as it may. Short control and long control traded from the side of the T's and CTs, respectively, and I assume a late short take is going to come in
Yeah,
from Royalty. EXE still got that smoke that he's probably going to drop on that hinge,
yeah.
but Leggy's actually booking it towards T spawn. Maybe it's going to end up to be a mid to B, possibly.
Yeah, I think that's
Could be-
exactly what's in store, because you saw the way that they faked that long control and now they're all dropping back. They're expecting WRG to send some of their resources to cover long, and now they're actually making their way towards B. There are 2 players in this B bomb site, but it's going to be a hefty ask for them to keep out all 5 of these T players who are charging forward right now. Tuckball going to be taking the first point of attention. Oh my god, he just pivots and he's actually able to find another kill. His teammate Custom got in on the action as well. I said how tough that was going to be for them, but they made it look darn easy.
They made it look so easy to WRG. I mean, Tuckbok and his player under window in that regard. I think Tuckbok actually got 2, swung out and got the 3rd of the M4. So as easy as you like for Tuckbok, that position going relatively uncleared as the Royalty players were hitting the bomb side. I think that was a bit of a timing issue. The players coming through window weren't quite. Were just a bit of ahead than the players coming out tunnel, so maybe that was just a timing or a spacing sort of thing. Maybe it would have gone a bit different if there was a second or 2 delay from the players coming out window, but be there as it may, that buy round goes the way of WRG, and now they're able to build up some bank. And that was the round where they only saved 3, and Zio and Kyle, they only had a partial investment of some pistols, and they only dropped 1 in that round, and that was their early pick over towards shorts. And Royalty, they left scratching their heads, but that AWP is still out on Leggy, and there's still 4 AKs across the team, so still as competitive a buy round as the last, so they're looking to post the 9th and hamper WRG's routes into taking Royalty's map pick.
Starting to reach that minute mark now as Royalty find themselves with a bit of a structure amongst the ranks. You can see they've got that 1-3-1 sort of split going on at the moment, with Doobie locking down middle, making sure there's no quick flank coming through. There's also the player watching for some long aggression. He's going to activate after the bomb site gets taken control of, and now this party of 3 making their way into the site, but WRG happy to give up control and play for the retake here. As the information is going to be starting to get fed through, they're going to be rotating accordingly, and it's actually not the best situation Royalty find themselves in right now, because they've got 3 players on short, and that can unravel very quickly if WRG take full control of the bomb site. It becomes super awkward to try and contest the defuse. They do have God's Not Dead rooted in Gandalf though, and that's a really important position. And look at Zio. He is absolutely sure that there's a late flank coming through, and he is completely correct. Takes down Leggy. Now he can focus his attention towards the bomb site. Molly's going to be forcing God's Not Dead into the open as well. This is a fantastic retake so far from WRG. They're crossing all their T's, dotting all their I's, but somebody needs to get on the defuse. Tuckbox got the kit. He's starting to punch in the digits. He's got the cover from his teammates as well. The Molly's missed the mark, so he'll successfully complete it. 14-8 is the score. WRG make it look easy, but I'm sure they were getting a little bit nervous there.
100%. And I think, as you said, going all players over towards short, and you have that long lurk. I think if the long players are rifle, it's a bit more doable in that regard. But I think God's Not that he gets mollied out, and when he's mollied out and he's in the open, that's when you flash and that's when you fight, because you have no other choice. God's Not that he just falls pretty much on his lonesome. The players fighting from short, they come in a bit delayed, but this round is something completely different. Kyle's full blind, and Spaz is going to emerge from long. He's good for two rather. He dropped TXE with the flames. So
Yeah.
3v3 once again. 8-14 being the score. So now Royalty, they need to start pulling up their socks. They need to start posting some rounds on the board, especially on their map pick. It's not something they want to drop. They did fall to Goliath 16-1 on this map earlier this week in the upper bracket. So they definitely need to do something about this map. But
That's a big kill.
yeah, 100% agree with you. That is a massive kill.
Now there's only one angle of attack for Royalty onto the say bomb site. Both of the players are going to be coming out long. At least they've got the double wall of smokes to make sure they can get across safely. At least if none of these stray bullets connect. But they should be able to get onto the bomb site just with the way that WRG are approaching this right now. Zio's being quite passive on short, and Custom just waiting on the other side of the smokes, biding his time. But all three of these WRG players are in position right now and ready to pounce onto the say bomb site at a moment's notice. Remember, if Royalty loses, they've got no money left in the bank, and it seems like WRG are going to be second-guessing themselves. Just Royalty just sits on the bomb site after throwing that wall of smokes, and now they're looking to try and catch one of them off guard. You can see they're actually starting to get a little bit more explorative here. Bomb plant coming through, and now WRG going to realize that they've over-rotated off the back of the lack of information. How do Royalty approach this? They're going to double peek CT. They look to take the fights, and this could be where they lose the round. I'm not going to criticize them too much for that idea. I actually think that could have worked out quite nicely. You know, we would have been singing their praises if they got those 2 kills immediately. So it doesn't work out for them. 15-8, and now they're in dire straits.
I'm a massive fan of how Royalty played that round, right? 2v3, you've got 2 smokes and a molly, and they smoke the cross and they walk through. There's no flash. So WRG think, especially Custom was over towards elevator, he jump spotted, and they just sat on ramp holding the long flank. So when Custom jump spot saw nothing, they hightailed it back to the B bomb site, and then they planted A. They effectively had a free A bomb site. And as you said, that double peek towards CT, it's not a bad play in any regard. It's just the shots weren't really hit by Royalty in that regard. So 15-8 is the score, and Royalty, they really need to start posting rounds on the board if they want to make this competitive.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they need to win 7 consecutive rounds from here to take this to overtime at least, but they only have a Mac 10, a Scout, a Galil, and 2 AKs to at least try and get themselves across to the next round, so big ask. But when you're in this point, when you're in these sort of situations as the team that's behind, you just need to put the magnitude of the situation behind you and take it round by round. Focus on just, you know, the task at hand right now in this very moment, and you don't get overwhelmed by the sheer size of the task at hand. Zio re-aggressing towards short, just catches Royalty off guard. God's Not Dead had already been brought down quite low, so that kill gets finished off, and it looks like Spaz wants to contest middle as well. He just flashes himself through the smoke. He's able to get the first and the second successfully. Even keeps himself alive. Now Donkey has to force him towards the bomb site, but he's not long for this world either. Leggy left in the 1 versus 4, and it would have to be an amazing clutch for him to just get his team the 9th round. So tough right now for Royalty here on their map pick. Tournament lives on the line here in the series, in this lower bracket right now. Of course, this is just the first map, but this is their map pick. He's been able to retrieve the bomb as he now makes his way towards A up short. There is Spaz on the angle. He only has 1 health to his name, Nick, so maybe there's a way in which Leggy actually secures the plancher, the fire. Going to be forcing Spaz back, but he's actually just gotten up on the box, and he's going to go for the knife. Yes, Spaz. What a way to end this game on here on Dust. That was spicy.
Oh, it was. I mean, Royalty's map pick, and that's a tough pill to swallow. You just fall 16-1 to Goliath, and now you fall 16-8 to WRG. I mean, but Royalty, they're going to treat this next map as a BO1. You know, you've lost the first map. It's in the bin. You don't care about it anymore. You
Yeah.
treat this next map Nuke as a BO1, and you know you can win it out. You know it's one of your favorite, your top 3 maps, just as you said prior, right?
Yeah.
This veto going the way of pretty much both teams. I think it's both teams' top 3 maps in that regard. So Royalty, I think I wouldn't be surprised if these teams trade map picks, but now Royalty, they got to pull up their socks. Obviously, WLG, they've got the momentum in this regard, but Royalty, I have no doubt that they can bring this back and make it a 3-map series and possibly even take the series 2-1 reverse sweep. Maybe, you never know.
Well, we saw
But
it
I mean,
last night, Nick, when in the
Yeah,
Nibble
we did.
versus Ekasi series. They actually again they traded map picks whereas Nibble won Ekasi's and vice versa. So we might see something similar. I completely agree that Nuke does play into Royalty's hands as well. But based off what we just saw right now, this WRG team are on point. They're feeling it. They're looking good. It's going to be an uphill battle for sure. I mean, they were pretty much in control for the entirety of Dust 2.
I didn't really think of a moment in which I went like one team. I mean, when Royalty really had a say in that match.
Yeah.
I know that may sound a bit disrespectful in that regard, but it is what it is, right? Because I think WRG, they won both pistols. They won they didn't win the first buy round of Royalty's T side, but they just were able to string rounds together. I think at one stage it was probably what 8-2 at one stage in the game. So
yeah, I think like the closest it got was 12-8 actually. So even there, well, it's not like WRG were going to be starting to sweat. So you're right on, you're bang on the money there that WRG were in the driver's seat throughout the entirety of that map. So yep, Royalty, they're going to have to bring the heat on Nuke, Nick. But we're going to be taking a short break here before we jump into that map. But I don't want you guys to go anywhere because I've got a bit of an interview that I'm going to be playing here. This was the interview that I recorded with Doobie, which is of course one of the players in Royalty. He's been a part of the organization for a while now, and he's certainly going to be hoping that they can turn things around on Nuke. Hear what he has to say about their run here in the Telkom VS Gaming Masters Season 5. Doobie, looking back on the group stage, you guys ended up placing top 4 in your group, so you were seeded into the winners bracket. How did you feel about your performance in that run?
I feel like our performance was. We had our ups and downs. We beat teams that we expected to beat, and also lost to teams that we didn't expect to lose to.
Okay.
Had a couple of unexpected draws. So we still finished top 4, but we were expecting to finish a little bit higher than 4th.
Okay. I mean, I'm looking at your results now, and you mentioned there were a few games that you probably didn't expect to drop points in. You lost 2-0 to Online Kingdom. Probably didn't help your guys' cause too much. And then also the draws against Critical 5 and Nibble. But those are both respectable opposition as well. So it's not like those were walkover games by any stretch.
Yeah, I guess so. The Nibble one especially was like a competitive game, but
Yeah.
I feel like we could have definitely toured the Critical 5
Okay,
game.
cool.
But it is what it is,
I mean, you also got the 2-0 over Sinister 5, and it was like a really convincing win. So, I mean, there were also some impressive highlights in your group performance as well.
Yeah, that was one of the ups.
16-8, 16-9. I remember we actually casted that game. You guys gave them a hammering.
Yeah, no, we played really well that night.
Okay. So, moving on from the group stage, as I said, you guys placed top 4, so that means that you were seeded into the upper bracket of the second stage, the championship elimination stage, and your first game was against Goliath Gaming, a bit of a trial by fire. They seem to not struggle too much in their match. Just a few words on how that game went.
Honestly, the veto went a little bit different to what we were expecting.
Okay.
So, yeah, they picked the overpass, and we were expecting like an inferno or something. And we didn't do too badly in the overpass because we just started with overpass, like it's a fairly new map for us.
Yeah.
And then we played Dust, and we just got absolutely raffle stomped, and yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
It
at least you had that extra life in the bracket, right? So it's not like it was a do or die situation. So you guys could have just gone in there with nothing really to lose, sort of thing. So now, after that result dropped down into the lower bracket, you find yourselves against WRG. That's the match that's going to be played this evening. A few words on that game.
WG's quite a good team, but we are pretty confident to play against them.
Okay.
I'm actually quite excited for tonight.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, just a man of few words for the match this evening. Hey, don't want to be revealing too many of your cards, I suppose.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Okay, cool. Well then, just looking forward into the rest of the competition, what do you think your chances are of, or how far do you actually want to go? What are your goals and expectations?
Okay, well, I think that when I look at all the teams in the lower brackets, I think that we can make it all the way to the end of the lower brackets, considering
Okay.
like the teams that we even drop through. But we'll see what happens. I think if we win today, what's the team in the
You
same like
probably play
side of the
Sinister
spectrum,
5 if you win
Sinister
today.
Five. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're still confident for the next game if we win today, and yeah,
And then
we'll
after
just
that, if
see how
you
it goes.
if you beat Sinister 5, then you're probably going to be playing against the loser of Goliath versus Dynamic, which I think it will probably be Dynamic. So then you play against Dynamic in your lower bracket round 4 match, and that's that's the match that you'll have to win to reach top 4, because that's the last hurdle between
Yeah.
this game and Comic-Con Online. So I mean, not
Okay.
two more games away after this one, and that's all it takes for you to reach top 4. It's a doable prospect from your guys' side.
Oh, definitely. I definitely think it's a doable prospect.
Okay,
Just have to beat WRG, Sinus 5, and DNMK.
there we go. Not like it's out of the realm of possibility. It's not like
No,
ATK
it's definitely not.
is in
Yeah.
that path or something like that, you know?
No, there's no team that we just mentioned that is by any means like scaring us,
Unbeatable.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, Doobie. Well, thank you so much for giving me some of your time, man. I really appreciate it.
Oh,
Any few words before I let you go? Anything you'd like to
um.
say?
Oh, actually, I'd like to ask you a question.
Okay.
Are you guys streaming a game tonight?
Yes.
Yeah, alright.
That's
Are you
why
streaming our game?
Yeah, that's why we're doing the interview,
Okay.
man. So this
Okay, I was just checking.
yeah, no, we're looking forward to it. We've got the hype. I mean, we got some like old guard versus new guard vibes going on as well, with a lot of the old school players in South Africa in that team. You know, especially the likes of Zio and Custom, who have been around for ages. And then you've got your guys' team
Yeah.
coming up, where you've got a lot fresh, young youth. Exuberance coming through as well, so it's a couple nice storylines. We're looking forward to it.
Cool.
So bring us
Sure.
the entertainment, okay?
Yeah, we will. Don't worry.
Okay, cool, man. Well, good luck for the match tonight, and all the best for the rest of the event.
Alright,
Cool.
thank you.
Cheers.
Check you, man.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. That was Doobie that you just heard me speaking to, and how he had felt about their run in the group stage. Nick, you've got 30 seconds to tell me what you thought of the interview, because we're about to go back into the game. Oh, I'm speaking to Nick. There we go, Nick. Give it to me. What do you think of the game? What did you think of the interview? You got a couple seconds because they're in the pistol round.
I mean, we know Doobie's confidence, and we're going to see that correlates in the server more often than
Yeah.
not. But we're going to see what he can get done on Nuke, and ultimately this is where it matters the most, right? But we're on Nuke, and EXE's in the A bomb site. Donkey and EXE with 2 crisp one taps. So just like that, he's almost off for the third. But
Jeez.
Zio is not going to entertain the prospect. God's not dead actually picks up someone to the smoke, but Zio, in a 1v4 turn 1v2, he's able to get Doobie and Leggy in quick respect. The smoke and a flash, he's still able to get down to the speed bomb site relatively easy, but he's actually going to wrap towards heaven. I love this play from Zio. But EXE, he's sticking around.
Yeah, this could actually work out for Zio. The way that he's moving around right now, it doesn't seem like Royalty have any awareness that this could be the potential situation. He might actually catch EXE off guard here. Is EXE sitting on top of Hut?
He's next to Vent right now.
Oh,
He's
he's next to
holding
the
heaven.
vents.
So,
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Question is if Zio clears him. Does he clear him? He doesn't clear him. EXE
Okay.
sees him, and the one tap comes in.
Clean. All right. Well, that was
3 bullets fired.
That was a perfect start to the map, considering what just happened to Royalty on Dust 2. That's going to help them just put their demons to bed and be able, and allow them to just focus on the occasion right now here on Nuke. As you said, they need to put what happened on Dust completely behind them. They need to focus on what's ahead right now, and they need to look to try and keep themselves alive. Remember, if they lose this map, they are eliminated from the entire event. WRG will move on, and they will play against the likes of Sinister 5, I'm expecting, because Sinister Sinister5 are playing Team Mist tonight, and I expect Sinister5 to be Team Mist. We even saw lately saying in your Twitter post a bit earlier that he wants his rematch against Royalty, so he's inadvertently rooting for them here tonight. Oh, Custom rings Leggy's bell.
Oh, cool. And we always like, that nothing much is going to happen in these rounds. It's just the normal second round, and no one they didn't invest. What's the point in talking about the round in that respect? But I mean, WRG 5 the Eagles. I mean, they're the sort of squad, just the mechanical brilliance that they've got. I think Kyle especially is the one that jumps out, and especially with the addition of Tuckbook, they've just got mechanical aimers. Now, Custom, he opens up the round for WRG, and now it's a 4v4. And if I was Royalty, you left a bit wary running into this round, but they've got a 2-man A setup with one player close towards mouth. So if it is going to be an A play, they should really have the number. But WRG, they're just going to group up toward. Oh, it goes out that actually is lower. They're actually going to work out for a double hard push, and Zio, he's going to get one in the meantime. But the ramp player, that is Doobie, he's fallen, but Zio's on 30 points health, and EXE, he's able to get 3 kills in both the first and the second round. He's able to pad the stats and get the money up, but just a reasonable round for Royalty. Just take it methodically, take it slowly, pushing things together, getting a late lobby crunch going, 2-0 going the way of Royalty. And just as you said, this is the way they need to start this map if they don't want to get eliminated from the tournament. Of course, the loser of this goes home.
Yeah, everything on the line, right? The first map scoreline was 60. Was it 16-8 or 16-9?
16-8.
16-8. I'm just setting the HUD quickly, so I want to get that done.
But in that regard, we're just seeing upgraded pistols on the side of WRG. Tuckbook choosing not to invest armor in that regard, possibly for keeping money for that AWP, but it does look like it is just going to be an A play. Donkey over towards Bakasala. He's able to get 2 on the spray down. EXE helps him out. And now it's Spaz and Zio with just some Tech 9s trying to get something done late in the round, but Royalty, they're just trying to keep this round as clean as possible. Damage mitigation. Zio lurks out the door and actually gets one of his own. Spaz can't get anything done in that regard. Donkey with 2, with him falling. EXE with 2. He's absolutely popped off. He's 8-0 right now. 3 rounds on the board for Royalty, but more importantly, it's the full buy round coming out from WRG.
That it is, Mr. Nick, and it's the first full buy round here on the second map of WRG with an opportunity to get a point on the board. What sort of a strat are they going to be pulling out the bag? We saw that they actually just went for the really basic approach to their T side the last time we watched them play this map against Akasi. You remember where they were actually like 15-9 ahead and they ended losing that game in overtime, but their T side actually looked really convincing, and they love just going for the 4-1 split where they just sit inside, they hold the angles, they wait for the aggression, and Leggy, he's going to have a contest towards Secrets, and he actually able to find the first. He takes down Zio, who's just charging through the flames. He was hoping to catch the CT player off, but in the end he just
really wanted
up.
that trade.
Yeah, I mean,
He
Leggy
really
did only
wanted
have
that
3
trade.
health, so it's understandable.
Yeah. But this the first buy round, WG, there's still 3 players alive. So I mean, if they can hit a bomb site together, trade efficiently, you're looking at possibly a 2v3 post plant, something along those lines. Very winnable round in that regard. But this is definitely Royalty's round to lose. And WRG, they're just grouping up for a possible late A hit. They still got 3 mollies rather, a smoke, probably to smoke off mouth in that regard. A couple flashbangs to the say bomb site. But the positioning of the Royalty players should allow for them to close out this round. But with that being said, we're not going to see how it goes. Custom's going to get these flashbangs to come in. EXE is mollied out of position, back. Custom actually full blinds his teammate, and God's Not Dead is not getting cleared. Last player out of huts, easy as you like. God's Not Dead and the boys post 4 with no response from WRG, and just a clean round going the way. I think it does fall down to Zio being a bit too wanting of that trade towards Leggy, but be that as it may, the round goes the way of Royalty. 4-0, and Eco going to come out from WRG, and now Royalty once again. They need to get the confidence up. They need to make this round as clean as possible.
Yeah, that's exactly why this is a great start for Nuke, or to Nuke for them, because they're going to be able to just focus on the situation right now. They're going to be feeling much better about this game. They never really were able to get anything going on Dust 2, but they certainly have found their footing early on here. That first gun round is going to be a nice boost of confidence. Now it's just a couple of pistols in the hands of the T players, and they're all set up inside. As I say that, I see that Zio is on top going up the ladder, so he's going to be setting himself up to throw some util through the windows, I assume. And WRG will eventually just go for this this upper bomb side hit. I noticed a couple rounds ago, though, Royalty weren't afraid to look to contest them and get aggressive through Hut, but Kyle, just playing on the edge there, is able to push forward. He catches Doobie off guard, who was actually in a very unfavorable situation, and off the back of that, WOG have changed up the plan. I don't think this was actually the initial idea, but they react to the situation that plays out in front of them, and now they get themselves into a pretty good position on this B bomb side. They might be able to secure a bomb plant. They're definitely going to secure a bomb plant. So Spaz dots down the C4, and now it has to be a retake. Zio looking for the timing. Oh my god, he's caught them completely off guard. He's going to take down God's Not Dead. That's a rifle as well, and it's also actually alleviated a lot of the pressure on this B bomb side. Now they can focus towards double door. They can focus towards control in ramp room. There's actually a lot of positional control for the White Rabbits in the situation as the bomb ticks on. There's a couple of kits. There's Util as well, but the players are dropping for the CT side. Spaz is going to get another one. Exy and Leggy Low, they each come at the frag of their own. That's going to be allowing him to at least make their way towards the bomb. Exy running out of ammo, but he now knows where the final player is. Custom knows he doesn't need to take the fight with Exy. He needs to take down the diffuser, and that's exactly what he does. Exy, with his tail between his legs, is trying to save, but Custom will deny him. The eco round is won by WRG, and they get on the board.
They do, and all they did was they just creeped close ramp. Doobie, I think he just didn't see them cross to that side. They were a bit close, more than he expected. Pounced in his position, Doobie fell, and the round just snowballs from there. And ultimately, a great play from a Custom, right? He knows he's taking contact from the player towards rafters. I doubt he knew that he was blind in that regard, but he just knew that all he had to do was kill the bomb planter. The man on the bomb, he was 4 HP, I think, or in the red at least. So Custom ultimately just thinking clearly in that situation. He's not getting flustered, not getting too out of his own mind. And in that regard, Custom, we said he's ice cold, wins out that 1v2 as easy as you like, and White Rabbit post their first on the board. Not as they would have liked. They probably would have preferred to have done it in the gun round, but be that as it may, you take what you get in that regard. 4-1 is the score, and I think that's something to keep in mind. You said White Rabbit Gaming, they look quite confident on their CT side. Is their T side that quite confident on their T side is their CT side that let them down a bit against Ikashi. So I have no doubt Royalty will know that is probably a factor going into this round, but White Rabbit, they need to start posting rounds on the board if they want to make this competitive and not let Royalty run away with it. It is, of course, a CT-sided map more often than not, as people say, but 4-1's the score, and the outside smokes have been dropped. Dropping towards Secrets is where the players are going. Leggy once again tasked with holding this position.
Interesting that this is where he finds himself again. This is clearly the plan for Royalty to get the AWP posted on that angle, and I totally get it because you can normally get a frag and you can get out safely. But look at the change up here from WRG. They say, alright, if the AWP is there, we can hear him scoping in. We're just going to change up the setup. We're going to be going through mouth into the bomb side. And they're charging forward right now, looking to try and catch the CT for far. The transition comes through, but WRG are still making the magic happen. It's the deadly duo of Zio and Custom that chime with the frag apiece. Doobie frantically trying to rotate the cars, looking to deny the plant, and he'll be able to do that. Now it's just himself and Exy left alive. Both of them towards the bomb side, but in such awkward positions right now. Exy playing on the edge is going to get caught off. He's able to find one. He actually He nearly gets the spray transfer of the century there, bringing Custom down to 3 health, but still it was not enough. And what a nice mid-round decision there from WRG to change that setup.
It's all about adaptation, and that's what they knew that Leggy was over towards lowers. They knew that probably wasn't going to be a favorable fight. I mean, Leggy, especially towards Secret there, you can just post on the close angle when they walk down the stairs, get a kill, fall back, and post the next angle. So, again, great fan of what WRG did there. They just cancelled on that idea. They split A through Mouth and Hut respectively, and the round goes their way. Royalty didn't really have much to say in that, just the entries going perfectly for WRG, but it is going to be an eco. Lockdown is the call for WRG, but Tuckbook on the spray. He's able to get 2. He doesn't actually finish off God's Not Dead. He does switch to the Beats 50 and finish him off, and now it's Doobie left. He's actually going to finish him off the nay. No, he doesn't. Okay. So Doobie left in a 1v4, but Tuckbook gets 3.
Yeah.
And just a good anti-eco coming out from WRG.
Nearly looked like Tuckbook had all 3 kills fairly cleanly there, but the spray betrayed him there on the one player.
Yeah.
He switched across to the next, but he ends up killing them all regardless. So the desired result was achieved regardless.
(4-3) is the score, and Doobie, I assume he's just staying alive, just so the team can speak things over, possibly work for a laid rifle to get retrieved. He is over towards vent, so if a player does drop preemptively, he will be able to get a free kill in that regard, but it is going to be 4-3. towards Royalty. It is going to be a full buy round coming out from both sides now. It's just going to be quite important for Royalty to get that AWP on Leggy. I assume Donkey is going to purchase one up and drop it over. He is going to do exactly that. The AWP with no skin and just some stickers is going to be on Leggy, but we're going to see what he can get done in that regard. Possibly a play towards Heaven or holding that mouth. That hut aggression is what's often seen by the AWP, or maybe just holding towards the outside smokes. But we are going to see what sort of play White Rabbits have got up there. Their socks. I don't know what I was saying there. I'm never going to say that again.
Maybe
up
in
their
their
socks.
hat,
What play they've got up
you
their
know?
socks.
With
That's
the
what I was
pull a rabbit out
trying
the
to get
hat.
at.
Alright, so this is actually quite an important round when you look at the situation right now. WRG, who were 4 rounds behind, have now got an opportunity to draw level here. And their T side is starting to gain some momentum. Look at that spray control from Tuckborg, my guy. God's Not Dead is all the way on the outside of Mouth. Those bullets are traveling a fair distance. And he did 69 damage to him through the wall. Jeez, that's the thing about Tuckbook, is he's actually just like such a well-rounded player, my man. Really, you can put him in so many different situations. He can perform so many different roles for the team. He's one of those FPS players he's just better than you. Like, he just knows how to play games. It doesn't matter what game he plays. He's such a cerebral gamer. Like, you give him any game to play and he's just like, he's going to be good at it. It doesn't matter. Let's see if he can bring his skills towards the, say, bomb site right now, where WRG are making their way forward, but Leggy's going to open things up, and that actually allows Exy to play behind the bomb side. Excuse me, it's Donkey who's behind there, but he can't get anything done. WRG have taken full control, and they've got a man advantage here, Nick.
3v4 post plant. There's not much really for Royalty to say in this round. I think you just saved the weapons in that regard. I mean, that was, if anything, it was a bit of a misplay from Tuckborg. Usually when you're coming out of huts and you're trying to entry towards the A bomb site, you don't want to swing all the way left, because if you swing all the way left, you're subject to the Heaven AWP, which is exactly what happened to Tuckborg. His two prior teammates, they swung right. They were able to get a couple kills, and then you can fight that play over towards Heaven later on in the round. You don't really want to entertain the AWP. If you give an AWP a good AWP in that regard, an inch, he'll take a mile, he'll take your head clean off. But 4 rounds posted in a row for WRG, and this is the sort of response they needed after dropping 4 in a row in their own regard. But 4-4 is the score, and I assume Royalty are going to reinvest into this. Maybe just drop over the MP9 or FAMAS possibly, or they're just going to pick out some upgraded pistols, probably Donkey and Doobie. But White Rabbit, they posted 4 in a row. The money's looking good. I'm sure that the comms are looking good in that regard as well.
Yeah.
Things are looking up for WRG coming late into the series.
Yeah, they certainly are. It's going to be the save for Royalty. They've at least got that AWP on Leggy and the M4 and God's Not Dead, but that didn't really do too much for them in the previous round. And WRG again just changing things up here. They're going to be going for the splits onto the B bomb site. They've got a couple players towards ramp, a couple players down secret already. Doobie is looking to meet them, and he's able to get one, but unfortunately towards ramp they weren't able to get the same result, as WRG just overwhelmed the ramp player. Kyle wants the
Doobie getting traded.
Dude, that looked like it might have got awkward for a second. It actually has gotten awkward. There's been a bit of a misplay from WRG as they're trying to juggle their weapons amongst one another. That means that I didn't see if it was Spaz or Zio in the bomb side gets caught in no man's land with no support. So that turns things into a bit more of a digestible situation for Royalty. Bomb's going to go down regardless, but the 3v3 is more doable than the 4v3. Donkey only has 1 health though, and a Desert Eagle. God's Not Dead has to get something done with this AK. They now know where he is as well. He's the player with the superior weapon in his hands, but Donkey with the 1 health is activated. He gets a kill with the Desert Eagle, and now Tuckborg, he actually does find a weapon on the floor. Going to breathe a massive sigh of relief after that. Not going to be in such an awkward position with the AWP, and Donkey does go down, but EXE is able to get the kill, and Custom can't get the job done. There's a Kitcher on XE as well. Oh wow, what a let-off. What a win for Royalty here, Nick.
I think that the CS gods were like, listen, the first buy round WRG got that wasn't fair. We need to give one to Royalty. So in that regard, I mean, Zio, he traded out Spaz from the vent drop from Doobie, but God's Not Dead, and ultimately them just juggling weapons. And on the bomb site was Zio, I don't know what he was doing. He was just jumping in no man's land, just giving free avenues into winning that round to WRG to Royalty. But I think it comes down to that massive kill that Donkey got on ramp. 1 HP with the Deagle. He was able to get that kill, and that allows for that double pincer aggression towards retaking that bomb site, and Royalty ultimately win it out. 5-4 is the score. But the money for WRG is still looking really good coming into this 10th round.
Yeah. They have more than enough to buy up AKs across the board. Even if they lose this round, they're going to be able to buy up in the next, and that's just courtesy of their dominant run with those 4 consecutive round wins, keeping a number of players alive in each of those rounds that they won as well. And now they're going to go back to their bread and butter. It looks like they're going to try split onto the A bomb site. You can see they've already got themselves set up. Util's going to be raining in, probably going to fake the cross smokes to Secret and then push in through Mouth. And that looks like the exact plan coming through right now from Zio and his teammates, waiting on the edge as their players come through hard as well to try and take a bit of the peak, but the defense stands true. Both Donkey and his teammate find a couple kills, and Custom is at least able to trade it, but turns the 1v3 into the 1v2. Still looking good here for Royalty as the bomb goes down. How does Custom approach this? He's just straight up holding his ground right now. There's just so many angles he can get peeked from at the same time, so he decides to go for a bit more of a passive option. He spotted the leg there of Doobie coming around the corner. He's going to be able to take him down. Leggy missing the all-important shot, and that's given Custom a much bigger chance of closing this round out as he just drops the smoke on his left-hand side, giving himself a lot of space and cover to work with. He does tick down to the fire, so Leggy knows that he has to be on that side of the silo, but still Custom is going to be able to get the kill. That's his 13th. This man is going absolutely crazy.
The Iceman wins out the 1v3 as easy as you like, and you can just see his brain going through the different stages of that clutch. He knows he gets the first kill, plants the bomb. He knows that Doobie's the ramp player and Leggy's the lowest player with that AWP. So, Custom, you just see him methodically go throughout that clutch and ultimately wins it out. 20 points of health, and that is ultimately a Royalty round that they really should have won. It was quite convincing for Royalty to win that round, but Custom, he taken out early in the round. No 1v3 clutch for him this round. Doobie's paying him back.
Yeah, he can use this time on the sidelines just to calm down a little bit. He's been having a nuts game so far on Nuke. He can give his teammates a chance to find some kills for a change. At least Doobie does get a bit of information here as well as a result of that kill. He's going to be able to grab an AK, so he can be feeding all this info through to his teammates that there's nobody in hut, nobody in lobby, no one towards squeaky door. But Donkey only has a 5-7 on the angle. I mean, how much he would have loved to have a scout in that position. WRG just maintaining composure here as well. They know that that Royalty could be pushing around the map. They know what the situation is right now, so that's why they're approaching it the way that they are, just continuing to push forward like this, keeping the numbers all in position as well. And it seems like they could actually go down back to ramp into B, or all of them just push through heaven into A. And it seems like it's going to be the latter. Useful raining as well, just to make sure that they can get in safely. But Doobie, who's gotten the AK, he actually could be the thorn in their side right now. The spray is on point as he finds 2 quick kills. He can continue to focus towards heaven, but unfortunately, he can't keep the gun under control in that instance as Tuckball takes him down. And now it's a dead, God's not dead walk. Oh, okay. He puts the brakes on at the perfect moment, but not going to be changing the end result. At least he doesn't go down to the nade, though.
6-5, and I think what Royalty need to do, yes, they've got Leggy over towards lowers, but now you've seen what WRG like to do. They like to throw those outside smokes and just go hut, and just wrap mouth in that regard. So maybe instead of putting an AWP outside, rather put a rifle behind red, get a flash, and then you can really hinder that approach instead of, you know, that they've been faking going down towards secret. So maybe playing a bit more up close would be a play, or maybe dropping that glaive smoke, playing around it, and try to hinder their aggression or something along those lines.
I'm totally on board with everything you said. I also like what Leggy's done, but I would like to see him continuing to push and not just holding in the bottom of secret like that. I'd like to see him actually trying to get up to the stairs sort of thing and seeing if he can at least maybe take a shot before he then falls back from there. Because right now he's like super ineffective. It's only relying on his teams even go down to secret, which they're not. Again, it's the upper bomb side hits. It doesn't even matter if WRG lose that once or twice. They still have so much faith. They put so much stock in that upper bomb side hit, and it seems to be working out really well for them, so why wouldn't they be? Like I said, it's something I actually want to stress a bit more. Look at Leggy's position. He's got a full belt of util, he hasn't fired one bullet with the AWP, and his round is over before he's even begun. This is supposed to be one of the impact players for Royalty, so why are you just like sending him to the dungeon from the start of the round in the hope that WRG might go down secret? Like, rather just put him outside then so you can react and be a part of the situation if that's not the case. Or push him further forward so he can take the fight.
100%, and I mean, we haven't seen any like squeaky picks come out. Quite often it's that a team nades the door, not even if they're going to fake vents or drop vents. It's just so that the CTs have to expand util in that position. So if he has a good spawn, he can post on that squeaky door, try work an early pick, or maybe, I know it's a bit wild, but I see it quite often. AWPers, they try to push through huts and catch the players off guard in in lobby, but just taking initiative is what Royalty need to do in this regard. Like they're down 5-7, they've lost 3 rounds in a row. They haven't been able to really string rounds together besides that first
Yeah.
4 that they've got. So they really have to take initiative. The aggressive players need to come in, and not just on pistol rounds. Yes, they're playing aggressive this round, but that's because they've got deagles. Yes, they've got armor, but you need to do them when you got rifles. Make them a bit more competitive. But Doobie, he's got 2 with the pocket rocket, and he's made this round as competitive as possible. But Takboki just flicks back, and now God's not there. It's going to press the issue towards secret, but I really want to see Royalty do that. Press the issue towards outside,
nice.
but they seem to just only buy
Man.
deagles at this rate because you're just making this a lot more competitive than your buy rounds
Yeah.
at this stage.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, South Africans are cracked with the Desert Eagle, bro. Like, we just seem we have some like phenomenal Desert Eagle players, and even like your mediocre players in the scene, they seem to bang with the Desert Eagle as well. Like, I don't know, man. Like, even when I play matchmaking, sometimes you just come across some of the most mental players with the Desert Eagles. So like, I don't know. I got faith in our Deagles, bro. I mean, even last night there was some crazy rounds. Remember that one game we casted where it was literally just like Desert Eagle, whoever just had the Desert Eagle buy was winning the round? Was that with you that I casted that game?
That was the Akasi WRG game. Funny enough.
Yes, you're right. That was right here on Nuke actually. Oh man, that was crazy. Anyway, fun times.
1v3.
Custom. Yeah, not an unfamiliar territory for him either. He's been in this position before and he was able to get across the line last time. He doesn't have the element of surprise on his side this time, however, and I like the positioning being taken by Exy on the opposite side of the silo. But it's the fake! Woo-hoo-hoo. I got nervous for a second there. I saw him lining him up. A little small transfer, he gets the double, but in the end, Royalty win the round. And that's another eco that they've picked up now, Nick. That's 2 ecos here on their CT side.
But as I said, I want to see them take initiative with the rifles, or maybe like a double ramp push. I've mentioned so many things. Obviously, I wish they could hear me and just listen in that regard. But I want to see them take initiative, putting a rifle outside instead of just having Leggy go downstairs with the AWP. I mean, you've really choreographed what you're gonna do with him the whole time. But actually now Leggy, he's holding that early squeaky aggression, which is what I like. You get that early info, but again they've dropped secret earlier. Now Leggy's actually
But you see,
choosing
look
to
how
drop,
it's
so he's
fine
actually
now
gonna
because
contact.
he's still going to be in a position to be able to respond. But he was still where he could have been to actually have an impact in the early stages of the round as well. That is way better from Royalty as they utilize their star player with the AWP. Kyle's still going to get a frag though, so the round is not done by any stretch of the imagination. However, there is quite a lot of support on the speed bomb side, and you can see WRG are like, guys, should we actually be committing to this? They already had the AWP, or they might have somebody else, and they're making a reach, and they're pushing into hell. They're just going to go straight up the ladder into the save bomb side, and this could actually work out. I don't think there's any players right now on the save bomb side. They're stuck in the hut, so the WRG are going to be able to push him for free, and Tuckbook knows that there's another player. He's able to get out alive, but... And again, fantastic mid-round decision-making coming out of WRG here as they just change up the strats and they catch Royalty off guard. Now they've secured the plant and they need to do the next job. The next objective to be achieved is securing this post-plant.
And Leggy's still got a full belt of util. He's dropped the AWP, but now he's picked up the AK. And I'm a big fan of what Royalty do here. They know that WRG have to take control somewhere, and they're just waiting for that aggression to come in. Doobie's coming in with this late heaven play. Carl, he has no chance really. But I'm a big fan of how Royalty paid that retake there. They just waited for the aggression to come in. As soon as it came in, that was their call to the bomb site. But again, I agree with you 100%. Leggy, even though he's not down towards secret this round, he's still in a position where he can still make a massive impact, right? He was opening towards secrets and he could just drop down vent because he knew no one was secret because he was posted.
Yeah.
And then he just drops down vents and he's still able to get 2 effectively free kills in that regard when you're holding that position with an AWP. So I think it's great work from Royalty. Again, great mid-round call from WRG and a great retake from Royalty once again. A very back and forth round in that regard, but it's 7-7 and this is as competitive game as we could have wanted.
Yeah, vital that Royalty shows some life late in this half as well. They had lost 7 of the 8 rounds after that initial 4 rounds that they got, so now they've picked up a couple of their own and they desperately needed it. So let's see who's going to be closing out the half. Spaz opting for the Desert Eagle over the Galil. Tuckborg had enough money to drop him a galley, but he's going for the pocket AWP instead. And as I said, South Africans are cracked with the Deagle, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, 100%. And but even this round, we sung Royalty's praises for what they did previous rounds. Now they just got Leggy posted in hull, which does make him a bit more mobile around the map, but be there as it may, the frags are falling around him, and a missed AWP shot means it's going to be another 3v3 retake on the A bomb side. Smoke towards mouth and a smoke towards heaven. That is by Leggy. That's a nice one-way which extinguishes all the mollies, and he's actually going to reply with a molly of his own, I would assume, but custom. He's going to re-molly Heaven, which is a bit preemptive due to that smoke, but another 3v3 retake coming out, and Royalty's util retention is really going to be their best friend this round. They're able to smoke out Squeaky and possibly flash through this fading mouth smoke, take these duels as favorable as possible, but they're not going to clear Spaz. They're not going to warrant his position. He's able to get 2 with the pocket rocket, as you alluded to, and Custom gets 1 on Leggy, and South Africans are cracked in the deagle.
But it just looked too easy for him. I mean, those guys had rifles that were pushing through Mini, and he just, he gets body shots on them to find the kill. He picks up both of those frags, so that looked way too easy for WRG, but it's pretty tough for Royalty as well, pushing through that choke point of mouth. There's so many different angles to try and be aware of in the moment, so I get the challenges that they were faced with there. WRG pick up the last round of the half, and they get themselves ahead as we head into the second half here. WRG on the CT side, they got 2 nades, a smoke, and a flashbang, whereas Royalty have got 2 flashes and a smoke. They've already blown the Squeaky door open as well. Doesn't seem like they're immediately going to be using that, though, although maybe Doobie will be trying to. Zio towards Ramp Room is going to find one before he fades away. Spaz chimes in with one of his own. He doesn't need to be taking this fight either, and he makes the right decision as he just drops off.
Doobie's pushing out in the smoke and called Custom off guard, but he's not going to warrant the play on top of Hut. Leggy's going to be able to get a bomb plant, and now it's a 2v3 post plant, but planted for single it is, and that is what Leggy is tasked with taking along with his teammate EXE, playing up close and personal, playing together. They're holding hands in this 2v3 post plant, and they're just going to clear out the angles and take contact together, I would assume. Up close and personal, these Glocks are going to be one-shot headshot potential, but it's going to be an awkward fight at the door. They're going to open it. Leggy falls first. EXE in a 1v3 turned 1v2. No one's on the bomb though. Spaz has retrieved the kits, and EXE is going to repress the issue. But Spaz just sticking the bomb. He's able to win it out. And EXE unable to win out the 1v3. 7-9 is the score.
Yeah.
And they traded pistol rounds effectively in that regard.
That was a really important pistol round for Royalty, though, just considering that they've shifted onto the T side now, which is like notoriously one of the more difficult T sides in CSGO. So that pistol round would have been a really big bolster to their cause if they could get across the line. Now WRG have the grip on the economy. They put 2 rounds between themselves and Royalty, and they're on the CT side. So all the signs point to the Rabbits getting across the line here in this championship elimination game. Remember, guys, this is the second map of the series. WRG won Dust 2 16-8, which was Royalty's map pick, and now they're just 7 rounds away from getting themselves into the next round of the competition, Nick. Everything on the line right now for both of these teams. Royalty are going to go for the Force Spy. They've got 2 AKs at their disposal, armor on most of their players as well, a bit of util to work with, so they certainly have some pieces in this round to make it work, but I fear for them if they lose this Force Spy, because then it's 10-9, they're saving the next, or rather 10-7, saving the next 11-7. Doesn't make for pretty reading when you're on the T side of Nuke.
Not at all, but I mean, I never like to bring it up all the time, but we saw what happened again with WRG against the Cassie. So
True.
there's always that points of hope from Royalty, but that's not an excuse for you to lose a round, especially like this. I mean, you've gone for the full investment. God's not there. He's dropped over a deagle. He's dropped over an AK. He's been taking a deagle of his own, so he's really putting Donkey and EXE in the best position possible to get frags. But as you said, tournament lives on the line, right? I think going into this game, I definitely had Royalty winning this matchup, and I thought it would be more of an upset if Royalty did lose it. But WRG, they've been a big name in the scene for an extremely long time. I mean, no, we don't have to mention the players they've got on their team, right? They've been around for ages, so
Yeah.
I don't think there's upset potential in that regard. I think if WRG went through, people would be like, okay, that's understandable.
Yeah,
If Royalty
for
went
sure.
through, they'd be like, okay, that's understandable. But
Yeah.
I would have definitely had Royalty as favorites going into this matchup. But WRG, they're
think-
definitely putting up a fight.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think I would have gone with like a super 50-50 game, but probably, I probably would have edged with you. The thing though is, with the addition of Tuckborg, this WRG team gets elevated to the next level. Like, seriously, you're bringing on one of South Africa's best players. He's done it all. He won ESL Africa Season 2, which was, like, arguably South Africa's biggest LAN to date, so, I mean, there's along with the big Comic-Con events, like, those have been the two biggest events that South Africa have ever had, and he was on the winning side of that in 2017. So Takbok is one of the most experienced players and one of the most decorated players in South African CS. So I think he was a massive addition to this team. He's going to gel really well with the likes of Zio and Custom. I think he's a really easy guy to get along with as well. I don't know much about Kyle, maybe you do, but yeah, I totally see why Takbok works on this team, and I think he definitely makes their job a lot easier. As we get back into the round now, Royalty have been able to take control of ramp as X gets a kill. Oh no, he's Custom. He just actually gets a bit caught between two decisions there, and he ends up getting aggressive. Spaz left trying to pick up the pieces, but as a result, Royalty have found themselves in full control of this B bomb site with all 5 players left alive.
This definitely is Royalty's round to lose. I mean, there shouldn't really be a way in which WRG have a comeback into this round, and that's exactly what WRG know. They're just going to choose to save the weapons. I think there's so many small choke points you have to get through if you're WRG. If you come through secret, like, yeah, it has to be a really well-timed double peak, and even then it's probably a 1-for-1, and you don't win that out if you're in a 2-man deficit in that regard. So WRG, they're just choosing to save the weapons, and as I said, Royalty, they needed this round. A good buy coming out. God's not dead in trusting his superior riflers to take those rifles, and they work out in the day. He's able to upgrade. So Famas, Negi has that UMP. Takbok unable to get anything besides that of Donkey's scalp on the retreat. And 4 players stay alive. Spaz and Kyle. Kyle still has the P shooter going into next round. 9-8 is the score, but I think it should be a reinvestment from WRG. I mean, you're going to be double eco regardless. You've only got 1 round of loss bonus, so I assume they're going to reinvest into this. So there's going to be another quite important round, but yeah, they are going to reinvest into 100%. So it's quite an important round for both sides. Yeah, WRG, they do have the inferior weaponry in this regard, but you never know. We've seen, as you said multiple times, I mean, the just South Africans on the Deagle, you know.
Yeah,
you never know what could happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, fact.
Okay, well, let's see if Royalty can get across the line in this all-important round and deal with the force buy. I mean, if you lose to the force buy when you're making the comeback, it's a massive demoralizer. I like that they immediately take control of outside. They realize that they're going to have the longer range weaponry at their disposal, so you want to try and play in towards those strengths as they start wrapping their way around heaven. And it's going to be pretty difficult for WRG now because they can have an idea that this is happening, but they won't know for sure. And Custom can get caught off very quickly here if he overextends. He might have spotted the head there of the player. Yeah, right? Let's just go watch God's Not Dead POV because, hell, why not?
Yeah, because it's so important.
Oh, but look at the flash here. Spaz flashing Custom out. We don't get to see Custom's POV, but I assume he wasn't able to connect on anything. Xe looking to try and execute into the safe bomb site as Royalty start converging. They successfully find the entries as well. Spaz on the side get one, but he immediately gets overwhelmed in turn. And this should be Royalty's round for the taking, and it absolutely is. They level things out once again, and they should be pulling ahead now with a eco on the cards for WRG.
I did think they dropped an AK in heaven, which, I mean, I guess in the moment, you know, it's a 1v4. You just want to get the bomb plant down if you don't care. But I think if you just take a little bit of time to understand the situation, you know that he's probably not near that you probably have time rather to maybe drop the bomb towards lower, get your teammate to plant the bomb, and you can upgrade to that AK because, you know, it's the small things that matter in the long haul. But they still are able to get these 3 sort of horrible weapons, to say the least. You know, the FAMAS, the Galil, and the MP9, they are going to be quite potent against the unarmored USPs. I assume it is going to just be the unarmored USPs. I mean, Takbok's purchased the 5.7, but I don't see WRG investing into this round. It should just be 10-9 going the way of Royalty, and this will be the second time they've taken the lead. Oh, the third time rather they've taken the lead in this game. I mean, they did go 4-0 up, but that was responded with 4-4. And then I think Royalty, they definitely have a time to build momentum into this. If they win this round, which they should in that regard, and they win the next buy round, then they're definitely looking good for an 11-line score line, especially with the momentum in that sort of regard and the confidence building. I know you dropped map 1, but as I said, you're looking at this at a BO1 in this regard.
Yeah. That is the situation as we have another timeout here.
You know, South African things, you know. Technical timeouts all the time. It's either load shedding or it's internet issues.
Or it's just, you know, TeamSpeak issues. It's just like you get a free pause when you just blame TeamSpeak. Online
Easy
things.
Peasy.
So, 9-9 here. Look at Xe. He's popping off, Nick. He's got 21 kills and 9 deaths in 18 rounds. So he's averaging more than a kill a round at this point. which are
Yeah, I mean,
stylish
he had a
numbers.
blistering start. He had an
did.
8-0 start, so
Yeah, he's head and shoulders above everybody else in his team, and no, that's not an advert for the shampoo, which you may or may not be
I
able
see
to
you,
find
though.
at Flex.
I mean,
Full
it's an
eco.
eco round. So
Yeah, there's a
there's not
5-7
much
for
to talk
Tuckbok
about.
though, so I mean,
Yeah.
there is that. And let me tell you one thing, Nick, Tuckbok is one of the best pistol players in South African CS. I don't care what anybody says. Give that man a Tech 9 and anything can happen in the round.
But it's an
the-
eco. So
Yeah, I do like the fact that Royalty don't use any smokes on the cross. They just use flashes to help them, because when you start dropping those smokes, sometimes the CT players can actually use them as cover, and you know, all of a sudden they backstab you, catch you, maybe find a frag or two, drop the bomb. So I like the dry push there with just the use of flashes.
it's quite often where you see, well, not often in that regard, but it's quite a smart way to say in that regard, because if you drop the smokes, you allow the pistols to get really close, and obviously that's where the pistols do their magic, especially have a 5-7 one-shot headshot close range. But I'm a big fan, as with what you said, right? Not dropping the outside smokes, you're just flashing, winning the aim duels, and ultimately they only drop one in that round, and that was just the FAMAS in that regard. So you would have been upgrading regardless into the round. But WRG, they're choosing for another partial buy. They're not letting anything get too ahead of them. They want as much real estate as they can possibly. So there's another eco. So shouldn't really be much to say about this round, but they are the Eagles, as you said, an airstrike towards outside Donkey. Chowing down 2 nades for dinner. He's on 15 points of health, but it is just going to be holding for this aggression. Doobie takes down Zio. He's just tasked with holding this lobby, as the other 4 players are towards outside. The outside smokes are going to come in.
Yeah.
I assume they were lining them up, but they haven't thrown them. So interesting.
They still have literally full utility, do Royalty. They haven't thrown one grenade yet throughout this entirety. And maybe they're going to opt not to again, just like realizing that they're playing against an eco. Perhaps they just want to try and go for the dry approach, just, you know, keeping their players stacked up together. Seems like that is the case right now as they're making their way forward. As soon as they cross the barrier into ramp, they then start to get vocal and they just drop down to the B-bomb side. So moving around very nicely right now. I like the way that they show that presence outside, and then they just shift gears and they go all the way back towards ramp. And they shouldn't have any trouble securing this round. Kyle, oh my god, Jesus,
What?
bro, what? Through the fire, he gets a double kill. He dies. I mean, in the end, that's really unfortunate. Imagine he gets the AK and he stays alive. Then all of a sudden, there's a chance for WRG in the round, but now things go back into normality, I presume. All 3 players going to be coming from ramp here for WRG. They don't have any util to try and help them get into the bomb side, so it's just going to have to be the dry push forward, hoping that maybe these pistols can catch somebody off guard, maybe find a quick kill, see if they can make it awkward. My goodness gracious me, Tuckbok with the Desert Eagles been able to find a kill. He gets another. I don't think there's enough
doesn't have
time here
time.
though, Nick. No,
It's
he
gonna be
doesn't
so
have time.
close.
No, he doesn't have time. He doesn't have time. He does have time. He does have time. He doesn't have time.
He doesn't have time.
Alright.
He doesn't have
Should've
time.
stuck with
You know,
my
we said
gut.
that. What do you mean? You didn't change.
What do you mean?
Said,
That
you
was
said
all
for
I-
the start,
yeah,
you didn't have time.
exactly.
I mean, I think it was just the audio glitching out. You know,
Yeah.
the
You got
NT
my
at
back,
the end
Nick.
of, yeah, you know,
You can
doesn't
stay,
have
bro.
time. He doesn't have time. 11-9.
Just something I see interesting in chat. Royalty, or rather Sinister 5 versus Team Mist are in overtime at the moment. I can confirm that game is 17-15 on Dust. I don't know what happened in the first map though, or if that is still the first map. So if anybody does know, please let us know. That would be cool to keep tabs of. Remember, the winner of
It's
that
that
game
LAN.
plays against the winner of this game.
It's that LAN that they're doing at Maverick, you know, the Mist guys.
Team, oh, are they?
Yeah, they're landing
awesome.
at Maverick.
That's really cool, man. That's very, very cool. Back into the gun round, here we go. Pretty important gun round for WRG as well. They need to put a stop to the rot that started to develop here on the CT side. It's been a while since they won a round. Royalty is starting to find their footing on this T side, and they're not showing any signs of slowing down. Or XE just needed a pixel there, and he takes Zio's head clean off. And now Royalty can just chill. They don't actually have to do anything immediately. They can just allow the pieces on the CT side to start shifting around the board. And that's when then they can start making their moves. And it seems like they are going to be going outside. After they took down the secret player, they probably realized that there's going to be there's not going to be much cover in this area of the map. But having said that, WRG have put some players in position to try and deal with any aggression. It's going to be Tuckball coming from ramp, and he's caught in such an awkward position now. He's just trying to keep himself alive, but he gets taken down by Donkey and Royalty. They're on the charge right now on their T side of Nuke. Doobie even making sure that there won't be any flanks coming through. So This is looking really well oiled right now.
Oh, Spaz, he's fighting with borrowed time. Oh, actually, he takes out Doobie, which may make the retake a bit more doable, but I think he's just going to
Yeah.
save that AK. One thing I do want to mention in that round, right? They have, quite often you see teams, they throw the outside smokes, they have a player going towards top silo to watch for that red push by a player throwing the glaive smoke, etc., etc. But what Royalty do there is they send EXE towards top silo to hold for that glaive smoke push if the glaive smoke does get dropped. But they don't throw the outside smokes, which is something an exact counter to the meta, which we see nowadays, especially on Nuke, because you drop in that molly to disrupt the outside wall of smokes. You have to use an extra smoke to complete the wall, or you just cross with a big gap, and then in that regard, you're subject to getting shot in the head, as Counter-Strike goes. But
Yeah.
what Royalty are doing, they're adapting completely to the meta, and they're just delaying those outside smokes, waiting. If that molly does come in, you're just waiting out, or you're just waiting for contact towards outside, and then you drop in the smokes, which is adaptation to meta, exactly
Yeah.
what I just mentioned, and that's what we like to see. The game, as we know, it is extremely evolving. It evolves every
Yeah.
day. People finding out gimmicks, and I just something really important that I wanted to point out from Royalty. I think it's really innovative and it's really interesting to see.
Yeah, and you always want to stay ahead of the evolutionary curve, right? Because if you're staying in tune with the evolutionary curve, then you're always just sort of doing what's expected. Whereas when you're ahead of the evolutionary curve and you're sort of saying, okay, with this being the standard, and now everybody knows that the standard, the CTs are going to be preempting that and they're going to be setting up to deal with that. So now, how can we change it subtly enough so that the CTs are going to be getting caught off? How can we punish them? Anyway, just before we jump back into this, I want to give some updates of the other games going on at the moment. XD beat Ikasi on Nuke 16-8 on the first map, but it's currently 13-7 on Inferno to Ikasi Esports, so that game is still very much alive. Sinister 5 won the first map 16-8 against Mist, that was on Overpass, but it's now 17-17 on Dust 2, so Team Mist pushing them the distance. And then just quickly trying to squeeze in the other game that's going on right now before the action breaks out. Online Kingdom versus OG. OK won the first map 19-17, and they 16-0'd them on Train after that, so they win 2-0. Jumping back into this one, Doobie leading the charge with the entry, will be taking down Michael, and he goes one further as he takes down Spaz as well, looking super disjointed from WRG at the moment. Zio trying to pick up the pieces, but the timing's going to miss it. No, he can just find the frag in time, but the action is going over towards the B bomb site right now, where Custom is with his teammate Kyle trying to rotate in.
Great
Wow.
play from Royalty. I mean,
Yeah.
especially with that double door setup that you can work out with rifles, and actually it's a 1v3, so it's getting up close personal. EXE's coming to help his teammate out. Leggy's getting out. He's like, Aiden, come help me, please. And EXE saves his back, but 39's the score. One thing I wanted to mention there is when you have control as the double doors as T side, especially playing on the control stairs, stuff like that, it's extremely hard to retake that if you're the CT side, right? I mean, that guy that's playing in towards control in the double doors area, if he takes contact, the guy behind the double doors, he just opens them up and he can either trade or double peek him, etc. And that's exactly what Royalty did to full effect there. They took contact, they double peeked, they took a lot of duels together, and ultimately won the round out pretty convincingly. Even though it was only 2 players staying alive, it was more convincing than most that they've had in the past. But this round they're just crossing secret dry once more. 13-9. It is an eco from WRG. If you're catching us late, the first map did go WRG's way, 16-8. That was actually Royalty's map pick, so we're on WRG's map pick. But as Hayes and I have mentioned so many times, this 3 maps that we're seeing tonight, Dust, Nuke, and Inferno, really plays into both these teams.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why we anticipated this to be as a competitive series as it's displayed to be so far. And that's what you want, right? When you've got the tournament lives on the line, you want both of the teams to be comfortable so that we can have both of the teams performing at the best of their ability. 4 versus 4 now, as the wind howls in the background here on Nuke. Royalty starts setting up their utility, trying to figure out what sort of a setup WRG employing here on the eco round. They realize that they're tantalizingly close to closing this map out and taking it to a third. Inferno will be the decider. Will be able to take down Tuckbork, and that means they should get onto the A bomb site relatively unscathed. WRG were stacked up towards B with majority of their players, so unfortunately for them, that call's going to be working out against them. And this should be the round secured by Royalty. So it means that WRG are pretty much going to have one opportunity left.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was a bit of an
intentional.
awkward encounter.
That smoke was on purpose, man. He was just blocking off the entrance to Squeaky Door from lobby.
Squeaky door from lobby.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
the
Spaz.
Deagles.
Oh, but he rattles off a couple more shots, which he won't be connecting on. And Custom, who's been trying his utter best to see if he can cause some shenanigans from the ladder in vent, is unfortunately not going to be able to. He will be chasing them, however, and he will be taken down. 14-9 Royalty. Now just 2 rounds away, Nick, from taking this to a third map.
One thing that I want to comment on is, if we've watched the second half, how many rounds do you think WRG have won without pressing tab?
Yeah, I mean, not many. I think that, well, I know because I remember what the halftime scoreline was, but it's been a super one-sided halftime score or halftime from Royalty after WRG won that pistol. Because then Royalty got that round immediately after. And was that the only round WRG won, actually? Yeah, it was.
They won the pistol round.
Jeez.
And that pistol round was very convincing. I mean, if you run it back, it was 4 players that stayed alive when they just tried to rush A, and then WRG just won all the gunfights.
Yeah.
I think it went something along those lines. So, I mean, on T side, you had custom 1v3s, you had great mid-round calls that we eluded from WRG, but on CT, the only round they were able to post is that pistol round. So the gun rounds have really not gone their way, but now is when they have the opportunity to build into this, right? 14-9, you know, the map's not gone. There's no reason to panic.
Yeah.
If they can start stringing some rounds together, then you're going to be having an exciting time. They're just crossing Secret dry once more. Spaz down to 18 points of health, and they've taken a lot of control early in the round, have Royalty.
Yeah, and look at what it's forced out of WRG. They've got their AWPer drop down in Secret. Tuckbook is in ramp. Spaz is in heaven, just trying to cover his ace towards CT. Like, this is not ideal at all. In fact, there's actually a player who's walked his way out of hell. It's Kyle, to try and help his teammate. WRG are responding very heavily to the information coming through from them, which can actually overexpose them elsewhere on the map. Like in that instance, they completely left ramp room open. Oh, Zio, what a shot with the AWP walking his way through Secret. That was such a high impact frag, because now it makes the job a lot easier for WRG, although it's certainly not done just yet. But that player in Secret could have literally been their unraveling if he had taken down Zio in that situation. However, God's Not Dead even sings back out with his kill onto Spaz. And off the back of that, Royalty are just going to be working their way in towards the save bomb site. But Tuckbook on the angle is going to look to try and shut them down, and he does take down the low HP God's Not Dead. He's got support here as well from his teammate. Fake plant comes through, but Tuckbook not taking the bait. He's still going to go down to Leggy's off, and they now know that there's actually a second player there as well. Leggy's also ready for the aggression to come through from Zero. He's got the angle on lockdown. He's got the frag secured. Now all of a sudden this has turned into a 1 versus 2 for Custom. And as I said, they know where he's coming from. They're just going to drop down the vents into the B bomb side. This is just a bit turned into a nightmare for WRG after the situation looked like it was going in their favor. But oh my word, Custom's actually made the read. He's immediately gone to ramp. He's got the angle here. Xe seems to be aware of the possibility as he doesn't immediately disembark off the plant. Just holding the angle. And he's holding the perfect angle as well. But Custom's actually going to spot him out. He's able to take him down. Leggy only has 1 health here, Nick. He has got the AWP at least, so he just needs to land the 1 shot. He's being very passive as well. The door gets shut in his face. Custom taps the bomb. He's trying to force Leggy into an awkward position. He's going to call his bluff though. He doesn't open up the door. And now Custom has no idea where Leggy's going to be coming from. He continues to hold the door. Leggy, oh my god, he scopes in just before he opens the door. And he lands the shot onto Custom. 1 bullet coupled with 1 health. He secures the round for his team and gets them to map point.
Big round player, Leggy. Absolute going massive in the 24th round, and that's exactly what they needed. I mean, Custom, as you said, he had the perfect read, and EXE planted back silo, and then he got the first kill. Leggy, Custom faked the bomb plant. Leggy was ice cold in that scenario.
Yeah.
Leggy knew he wasn't sticking, and just ultimately a great play from Leggy. Got to give him full props for that. But this is the first tactical timeout to be coming out from Royalty. I have no doubt Leggy's heart is pumping out of his chest, so they're calling that timeout just so they can calm down a bit, clear their heads. 59 is the score. And as I said prior, like WRG CTs, they're not looking completely convincing, but be there as it may, 59 is the score. Now WRG, they don't want this to go to a third. They would like to clean it up in 2, but it looks like we're heading to Inferno.
Yeah, I mean, it would actually be quite a nasty turn of events if that wasn't the case. But let's not forget, WRG were in Royalty's position against Ikasi during the group stage. They were ahead 15-9, and Ikasi were able to make the comeback, take it to OT, where they then won in OT. I wonder if WRG can replicate what was done to them here this time against Royalty. Nick, do you think they have it in them?
Look,
Or are
I
we
can
going to map
never.
3? Is it a done deal?
Oh, look, I mean, as much as I want to back WRG, and I know that they've got the experience, they've got Zero custom tuck book, they've got
They got the
they've got everything
pieces.
that. Yeah, exactly. They've got the pieces, but I don't know if they've got the puzzle. I know
Yeah.
that's not an analogy, but I've just made it right
Nah,
now.
I'm game, man.
So I the only thing that's running in my head is a copy pasta that says spam the sheep to help royalty reverse sweep. That's all I've got in my head right now. That's what I think is gonna go. I think royalty probably clean out this map. They've got the momentum running to Inferno, and I know both teams are pretty confident in Inferno,
Yeah.
but I know royalty are so confident in Inferno that they actually pick it into some teams who insta-ban dust. So
But
I know
WRG
that
also play Inferno a hell of a lot. Like, it's
yeah,
also one of their
yeah,
strongest maps.
that's
Remember they actually picked Inferno against Ekasi and they absolutely dogged them like 16-6. So I mean, this team is really strong on that map as well. So like we've been saying the whole night, this map pool could arguably be both of these teams' strongest 3 maps. So let's see what we have in store now. WRG fighting to keep themselves alive here on Nuke. Or are their hopes going to be bombed and we move across into Inferno?
if only we knew the answers to your questions, Hayes, but I'm pretty sure custom
Oh.
is gonna make it some sort of otherwise. But Doobie is close towards outside, so outside control completely the way of the T's. Possibly at sort of Heaven Wrap and A-Split coming out, but Spaz is going to press the issue with this Deagle, this Pocket Rocket. Trying to get something done, but Doobie's pushed up close. One body shot from this Deagle will be Doobie's demise, but he's wrapping through CT right now.
Yeah, they surely have to be aware of this possibility though, because Spaz has been playing so passive and he's just going to continue to sit back. I like the decision there from Spaz as well, because the rest of his team are actually okay right now. They've got all the extremities under cover, so that means that they're not going to be getting caught off, even though Royalty do have outside control. But this has been the challenge for WRG, is trying to deal with the execute once it comes through. The players coming through Mouth, the players coming through Heaven. They haven't really been having a good time of it so far in this half. I mean, like we said, they've only won the one round so far, the pistol round, the only one that they've picked up in this entire half. Custom out. That's a really nice angle from him. Now he's able to transition towards Mouth, and he's going to be mopping up along with Tuckbook to make it look all too easy. Where has that defense been this game, Nick? I don't actually know why Royalty decided to push through the smoke.
I mean, great. Ultimately, it's great util retention from WRG, right? They play it towards second vent, and often if you play that position, you're playing with a smoke regardless, because if they molly you out, you drop the smoke. But it was actually the player back silo who smoked off Mouth with 30 seconds left in the clock. That buys them 18 seconds. If they respect the smoke, in this regard, they didn't. And obviously, if you're going through a smoke, you're going to be grey screened for a little longer. You won't be able to see anything when you go through. But Tuckbook, he takes down Leggy in this round, and as you said, where's this defense been?
Yeah.
The whole CT side.
Hey, I mean, they're still courtesy of that great performance on the T side, have gotten themselves into a position where, even though they've lost quite a few consecutive rounds, they can still get back into this game. I mean, they only need to win 5 rounds on the CT side. 5 consecutive rounds sounds like quite a lot, but all of a sudden those rounds can get chipped away at very quickly. Zio staying alive here towards ramp, even hanging around maybe a bit longer than he needs to, although he's still going to be able to get out alive, which is what matters the most. 3v5 here, as Royalty begin to stutter as they reach map point.
And we've spoken about the youth that Royalty have on their roster, so they may be subject to possibly worst case scenario. When you lose a couple rounds, you think of worst case scenario, but Scott's not there. He's going to be creeping out. He's good for 1, but Carl, they line up for him. He's good for 2, and now it's EXE left. In a 1v4, he gets the first relatively cleanly, and a preemptive peek would allow EXE a possibility at a 1v4 clutch, but 25 seconds left in the clock. EXE 1v4, 54 points of HP. Now 1v3, and he's going to try to press the issue. 27 kills to his name so far this game, so he's definitely popping. He's going to be able to be afforded the bomb plant, and now he's going to try pick and choose his battles.
Drops the smoke to try and give himself some cover, but that's not going to be making much of a difference as Spaz drops from the heavens and removes him from the equation. WRG now pick up a second consecutive round, and 15-11. They're edging closer and closer. Only 4 more rounds now for them to take this game to OT. The money is also beginning to be deplete on Royalty's side. They're going to have a full buy in this round, but thereafter they're not going to have too much money left in the bank. They'll have a couple thousand on a few players, but not enough to full buy on every single player, I don't think. And you can see they call a timeout as well. Can we actually use this opportunity to actually just appreciate
Triple OT.
how beautiful Spaz's knife is?
Yeah, 100%. I was just saying triple OT because the Sin 5 missed game is 21-21.
Wow. So that's going the distance. Team Mist are making them graft for their victory.
Yeah, making them graft for their 2-0.
Jeez, have you seen Spaz's knife? Did you get a look in at it?
Ooh, the Ursus Crimson Web.
Yeah, and it's also quite
Look,
clean.
I'm not a massive fan of the Ursus itself, but the Crimson Web pattern, very very nice.
Looks like
very nice.
What are those knives called that you use in like arts and crafts and stuff? It's literally a craft knife, I think, right? Those knives that like retract and extend.
Yes, it's literally called a craft knife.
It looks like a craft knife, like an extended craft knife sort of thing. Anyway, back into the game we go here. Full buy for both of these teams. Tuckborg actually has the Orpia once again, Nick. So
Stanley knife.
a bit of a
That's
pattern.
what it's called.
A Stanley knife. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I call
Green
it craft
soup
knives,
coming in
but-
clutch.
Not his first time coming in clutch, but you know, we
Yeah.
take those. We take them each time. God's not dead. I think he's just trying to fake this upper hit, trying to pull some rotations. But Tuckborg playing up close personal. He's good for 1 with the AWP, but he gets dropped by EXE, and now he's able to molly Vents, cut off the rotate, and God's not dead. He's going to try lurk out and try and get something done. Kyle looking the wrong way, gets caught, and God's not dead could actually be good for another. The player on top of Hut, EXE. He's going to be able to plant for single door, and it looks like it may be 16-11 on the cards, but it is still a 3v4, and Zio's able to clear out this lobby player, and now it's a 3v3 retake. Playing up close to personal is Donkey.
Yeah.
EXE, he's going to get close to double doors. He's actually going to get close towards Dark to help his teammates, but
That's such a big kill for Doobie as he takes on Custom in the vents. Now it's a fairly one-dimensional retake here from WRG as they make their way forward from ramp. Both of the players have full health, but Xy's going to catch Zio. Spaz goes down to Donkey. It's all too easy as the crossfire comes into play. Royalty win the map 16-11. And Nick, they're taking us to a third and final map to see exactly who is going to be maintaining themselves alive here in this competition and who is going to be getting eliminated. It is a tantalizing affair right now, and this is exactly what you want. You want a game as close as this is right now when you've got a team with their tournament lives on the line.
you want to see 3 maps, and I mean, look, if we get OT in this game, I can go to bed as late as I want. I'm a big boy. I want to see as many rounds of Counter-Strike as possible. And I'm keen. Like Inferno, as we said, it's a map both teams are pretty comfortable with, pretty familiar with, and I think we could even see the distance. We could see a full 30 rounds, but that is all subject to how both teams choose to play this game. Maybe the bullies, they've had enough. They want to go to bed. Maybe that's the thing, but I doubt that's the case. They're fighting for their tournament life, as you said.
That would result in one of two things. If they want to go to bed, they're either going to literally come out with their pieces swinging on Inferno and just absolutely dog Royalty, or they're just going to fall to the wayside and get trampled. So we'll have to wait and see. But guys, we are going to be heading into a third and final map to determine who's going to be progressing here in the bracket and playing against the winner between Sinister 5 and Team Mist, and who's going to be losing and essentially being eliminated from the tournament altogether. Remember, this has been a 9-month run all the way from February through all 3 legs, fighting through the group stage. Here in the championship elimination stage, they have been playing countless games to get to this point, and now there's just one map left to see who will be going home and who will be progressing. So that's the name of the game. I've got an interview with Zio I think I'm going to be playing because we had to cut it a bit short earlier on, so I'm going to just bring it out once again. If for anybody who didn't catch it as well, we'll have a chance to see what he had to say. So guys, I hope that you're going to be sticking around for the third and final map, and let's hear what Zio had to say about their tournament here and their run so far. Zio, looking back on the group stage, you guys ended up placing 5th in the group, just outside of that top 4. I'm probably thinking your guys' goal was to be placing in the top 4. How did it go? How was your guys' run?
We felt it was quite good. It wasn't too bad.
Okay.
We had to win. We had to get one more draw to get that fourth spot. So it was very close getting to that fourth spot. And yeah, we were trying our best, but unfortunately, we were just short of going to the top 4 there.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were literally 1 point behind XD, and it was quite ironic because you guys actually beat XD in the group stage, but then they ended up placing that one spot above you because of how a few of your other results went, you know, especially like the draw against OG, I think hurt you guys a little bit, and the draw against Ekasi in particular was also another one that set you guys back a little bit.
That's right. Yeah, we were struggling to close out games.
Yeah.
We were ahead like a few times, but
Yeah, I remember
yeah,
that.
you learn every time you lose, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's it. You don't take L's, you take lessons. That's the way. But I mean, even your guys' game against Dynamic, it was like 16-14, 16-12, and against Goliath, you lost 16-12 on one map. So there was definitely the potential there. It just goes to show, as you said, you weren't able to just, you know, keep it up for the whole map. And if you can do that, then you will be closing out those series. So definitely the potential. Anyway, as you said, you still make it to the next stage, you know, in the 5th position, which means you're now seeded into the lower bracket. Let's talk a little bit about this. I mean, you played last night against Clutch Kings. A few words on that game?
Yeah, it was pretty good. We also got Takbok in, so we're
Yeah.
going through all the maps and getting ready like for this last few games and stuff like that. So it's pretty hard. Like we have to go through everything again and stuff like that. But
Okay.
Jan's he fits in very easily and he understands what needs to happen. He's a very
Yeah.
experienced player
And
and a
of
power
course,
bomb.
yeah, I mean, he certainly is a player who can take over the server. He has that ability. He came into the roster for Schneeks, of course. That was just a change that had to happen because Schneeks got really busy with everything that was going on. But you guys definitely won't be disappointed with the fact that you have Takbok.
No, definitely not. Like he fits in well with Cassie and the gents. We all play games together, so he's a very good fit for us as well. So we're
Awesome.
very fortunate to have him.
That's really cool, man. And then along with you three, of course, Spaz and Kyle, you guys have a nice dynamic going in the team at the moment.
Yes, definitely. Like the vibe in the team is very lekker, and like I said, I think there's good things to come in next year, and even maybe the next few games that's coming up in this VS.
So you guys are thinking long term then?
Definitely long
Okay.
term. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm really glad to hear that. Okay, so then if we segue back into tonight's match, you guys are going up against Royalty Esports. What do you make of this matchup against them? I mean, there's a lot of youngsters in that team. They're one of the up-and-coming teams in the local scene. How do you see yourselves against them?
We're obviously hoping to win. They are a very
Yeah.
good team, no doubt. So it's going to be a close game.
Okay.
Yeah, basically, like just we're going to do our thing and see how far we get.
Okay, cool. And I mean, speaking about how far you can go, just my last question for you. What is your guys' goal in this event? How deep of a run do you want to make?
To be honest, we are aiming for top 3.
Wow.
If we can get top 3 somehow, like it'll be very good. I think Jan's bringing in very, very much like a good rounding to our team. Like I said,
Okay.
yeah, just in form of like just that last bit, you know, that little bit more firepower what we need, and just a little bit more. How can I say structure? I think it's
Okay.
going to be good run, or I'm hoping so.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's a safe bet as well when you bring somebody like Tukbok into the team. Okay, so top 3, I mean, that's going to be a challenge, but you guys definitely have the personnel in the team who can be competitive against nearly every team in South Africa. I mean, obviously, you got ATK who seem to be in a bit of a class of their own right now, but I'm sure you guys, you're super confident. You've got very confident individuals led by yourself nonetheless, you know, so I'm glad to hear that the confidence is there. And yeah, if you guys put your mind to it, I'm sure it's capable, or you guys are capable of doing that.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think ATK is not that good. We'll beat them easily.
Oh yeah, okay, there we go. Well, I actually want to get that game. Oh man, these guys just don't want to hear Zio's interview, but they keep on going on with the game just while there's still a few minutes to be played. So unfortunately, guys are going to cut that short once again as we just jump straight back into the game as we catch the pistol round again without anybody being dropped just yet. WRG taking B control with force.
Oh, Doobie actually gets one, just as you say, but Donkey with this flank, he's good for one. Possibly one of the top pistol players in South Africa is Donkey. I think his aim is one of the best, but Leggy, he gets one in the meantime, and Donkey gets a second, and he's on his way for the third. Custom in another 1v3 situation. He's over towards families, his position is known, there surely shouldn't be a way. And in which Custom wins this round. He's just on borrowed time right now. But oh, Leggy's given him an avenue into winning this round. But Donkey seems to have the angle for this wide swing. He swings out over towards Emo Pillar. Donkey gets his third, and Royalty get the all-important first on the third map of the series. And as we said, it's looking exciting. They traded map picks, and Inferno's a map they're both comfortable with, and this map genuinely could go either way. I must say, I'm putting my neck out there. I know you didn't ask,
Okay.
but
that's fine.
I'm saying Royalty take this. I'm saying it right off
Okay.
the bat.
There we go. Well, I like it when you be assertive like
And I'm
that,
not wrong.
You know? And you're not
I'm never wrong
You
as
never
well.
have been.
No.
Literally in all
I've
19
never,
years
ever
of
been
your
wrong.
life. It's just
100%.
okay. It's
Every
100%.
test I've written,
Yeah.
100%.
Okay. I mean, there we go. Nick, you guys
Actually getting hired by NASA.
you heard it here first
Like-
on the Telkom Twitch channel. Nick has never made a mistake in his whole life, guys. Please hold him to that standard in everything he does from here henceforth. I'll go the flip side. I say WRG have what it takes here on Inferno to get across the line. I think that they're going to be wiping that first map off that second map off their
Off the
slate.
brow.
Yeah, and
Yep.
they're going to be focusing on Inferno. Let's see how things play out. They do just have pistols in their hands after losing that initial pistol round. And Royalty are not giving an inch right now. They are literally just sitting back, turtling and waiting. They've got banana control as well. But because of that extra bit of presence from WRG and Banana, Royalty decided to shift that second player across. So that means the say bomb side is slightly less defended right now. And could be vulnerable to a bit of an A hit coming through. You can see 4 players stringing their way up archers right now. These dead eagles potentially could get something done. But again, Royalty's giving them nothing. Finally, Leggy's going to peek out and he finds the kill. Rotations are coming through quickly as well. So WRG needs to start getting themselves onto the bomb side. Zio pushing forward, looking to try and get a kill. But nothing coming to fruition just yet for WRG. And it seems like now this is the end of the round because all 3 of these players are in a very awkward position. They don't have the bomb, so they have no choices available. They're just literally going to have to wide swing and see if they can land a lucky shot or 2.
You have voice enable 0, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, because WRG's Discord crashed, so all of them were coming in game that round.
Oh, wow, that's hilarious.
That's why they just paused. So yeah,
That is
literally,
actually hilarious.
you were talking and they were, they've taken B aggression, so they've rotated one back over, and then I just hear chatting in the back of my head, and it's like multiple different voices, and then one person goes, Discord crashed. So then I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, that's hilarious. Well, you got a bit of inside information there, Nick.
What can I say,
Yeah,
and I have that sort of effect on people.
hopefully.
No idea where that was going.
Hopefully it won't be too long till they can resolve it. No, there we go. Immediately they're able to get the issue sorted
I think it was
out.
probably just a disconnect and reconnect sort of issue, like very easy solvable, all that stuff. 1 + 1 = 3, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Gonna be another save round here for WRG. They have quite a few upgraded pistols and they actually have light armor on most of the players as well. So there's a couple pieces in this round for them to try and work with. And they're gonna be rushing aggressively. Wow, trying to potentially catch Royalty off guard, but they just end up with egg on their face. They get shut down emphatically. Custom will be able to get 1. That's actually only the 2nd kill that WRG have gotten in this entire map, if I'm not mistaken.
3rd. Close.
Okay.
Close. You make mistakes. I don't make
Stab.
mistakes.
Okay.
But you make
I was waiting
mistakes.
for that
Yeah, there we
reaction,
go.
Nick. It's coming. You better think about everything you say
4.
very carefully.
4 kills in total for WRG now.
Now it is, yeah. And
Yeah,
Custom has
yeah, 100%.
75% of them.
Honestly, yeah. And Royalty have 75%. Have Royalty have the same amount of rounds as Customers kills. How's that,
There
huh?
we go. Damn, Nick. I mean, there's even the
Big
number
brain.
of maps in the series.
Oh, whoa! You're breaking my brain now. This is too
Gigabrain.
high level thinking. Yeah, Giga brain.
Gonna have the first full buy round, yeah. AKs across the board for WRG to try and get the job done. And look at this aggression from Royalty as they take deep banana control. They haven't even smoked the bottom of banana, which is fairly unconventional. Normally we see teams smoke it immediately and then push forward. They go for the molly instead, which means they should still actually have 2 smokes at their disposal. No, Doobie must have used his one somewhere along the line. But XE still does. And you want to always make sure that when you leave one player posted at the top of banana that he has either a smoker or molly, so that when he gets forced back into the bomb site he can just drop that util and buy some extra time for his teammates to rotate into the site. what do WRG have in store here? They are going to be showing some more presence towards the top of Banana. I really like this. Obviously, this is the stock standard just to deny Royalty that free information and that rotation. Now they bring that player across. And it does leave this exact option available as well to just double back and go all the way up Banana. They could fake from here and then execute A, or they could decide to just bring the bomb back here and persist with it altogether. It looks like there's going to be re-aggression here from Royalty. This might be a misplay. If both of these players go down, it's going to be the end of the round. Smoke gives them cover, and somehow Doobie's actually been able to survive that spray of bullets, and now they're actually going to be deterring WRG, who quickly shift back towards the say bomb side. This is a change of plans, hoping that they might be able to catch Royalty off guard, but Royalty still has 3 players here, and the crossfire is set up, so that late fire is going to be keeping him at bay for even longer.
They got another molly to drop in one. And they just dropped the bomb. Molly, Donkey just got 2. Fire burns. Donkey with 3. He's almost on for the 4th, but Leggy no scopes him. And I agree with you that double aggression towards upper B, it was very 50-50. I mean, both those Royalty players go down, or even one of them in that regard. White Rabbit go B and they win the round. But they both allowed to stay alive. EXE with that save smoke, being able to drop that towards upper B, they have to hightail it back towards A, and there's still A players with util in that regard. So ultimately that round, everything just went Royalty's way. They're able to post 4 without reply, and WRG, they're left scratching their head a bit. They just got some upgraded pistols, and the second middle peak is coming in, but a B rush is what is going to be entertained from the side of Royalty, but full blind, none of them are, but over towards... Oh, okay. Yeah, that was a bit of a field.
I mean, that's my favorite one to pull out when things aren't going well in my MM game. Just, you know, standard. Job's not done yet though, because quite a lot of damage has been done to these players in the process of taking control. And actually, there's going to be numbers from WRG at the top now. They want to take this fight, and that is the right decision. They just get 3 players there. They make sure that they give themselves every opportunity to contest top banana, because as soon as they lose top banana, it actually almost becomes a shooting range in the bomb site for those riflers. So that was a great job there by WRG. Good heads up thinking from them, and they get their first round on the board in an eco nonetheless.
And now they've posted some more kills than they did prior. In case usually when you went around, you kill someone in the process. So now there's a lot more players that are off the mark. The same can't be set up by DXE. He's currently owned 3. And that's kind of confusing, considering he literally banged last map, right? I think he finished last map with 27, 28 kills. So he's just taking a bit of time to warm up in this, but they cleared out the previous rounds pretty cleanly, so they've still got money to buy into this. But WRG winning that eco buy, they've got just as much money, if not more, than Royalty at this stage. This is an important round, more so for Royalty than WRG. But now is when either team needs to start stringing some rounds together.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
great.
Doobie. Tiny flick of the wrist there as he catches custom. He might be overstaying his welcome. Definitely no need for him to be re-peeking after he gets that advantage for his team. When you get such an early kill on the CT side, you literally just need to go back into the bomb side, sit and turtle, and force the T side to make the next move. You don't want to potentially give them an opportunity to even Donkey off the back of the flash is going to peek apartments. He wants to try and be proactive in the pass. Leggy going to be able to get a kill as well. I didn't realize how far forward Kyle had actually been able to get there. Now Zio and Spaz the only 2 left.
I thought that was a CT running into the side.
That's initially as well, to be honest.
But yeah, I mean, as you said, as soon as you get that opening frag, especially as a CT, especially on a map like Inferno, you don't have to work that extra mile to go for another pick and another pick. You can literally just sit total on the bomb sites, wait for them to come to you. And more often than not, you win out the gunfights, but you know, always if the trades don't really go the CT's ways, then things go differently. But very important round for Royalty, and an extremely good one at that. All 5 players stay alive. And one thing I want to comment on, Donkey over towards Apps, he drops a molly which actually lands in the door, which is similar to what happens during the hut in Nuke. You can drop a molly there, it will make the molly sound and look like it's been mollied, but it doesn't actually get mollied. So he drops that molly, the flash comes in from his teammate, he's able to peek Apps, and the Apps player didn't know that peek was coming because he thought Apps was mollied. So just a little small detail there that you can throw into your MM games or your face and get something done if you have a bit of teammate, a friend you're queuing with, and get yourself some free kills in that regard.
There we go.
And some angry enemies. Why are you pushing the molly?
I can see you're a master of the fire pushers. Kyle, the master of the chickens as well. wants to get a few more followers.
I think Kyle and his brother Michael, their family, I think they own a farm. So he's
Michael as in Frozen.
Oh, Mike. Yeah, no, Michael is in Alienation.
Oh, okay.
He's Carl's brother. He doesn't play CS, but yeah.
Well,
Nothing much.
CS, the game right now is looking like it's royalties. It feels in control. They just can't set a foot wrong right now. They're literally just sitting back and waiting, and WRG just can't crack the code. They can't get into the A bomb side. It's under lock and chain right now. They haven't been able to find the winning formula. The only round they've won so far is the eco round. Nice flash there from Spaz, quite fancy, but
very fancy. Yeah,
that's all it is. A fancy flash. Patience might work out for him here though, but unfortunately the timing won't. How does he even get into this bomb site? That's the problem. I mean, that smoke will be aiding his cause. Now he can try and focus his attention towards the mini pit player as he takes Leggy out of the equation. God's not there. That's unfortunate for Spaz because he could have actually gotten 2 kills there in the clutch if the timing had just been slightly more on his side. So, WRG, they're tanking here in the early stages on Inferno. They're really seeming to struggle to find their footing, and like I said, it's just they can't reach that execute stage successfully. They can't get themselves onto the A bomb site. They can't find the kills to weaken the defense. Maybe they need to be re-exploring their options towards B a bit more often at this point because A just hasn't been working out.
Royalty have gone for a delayed second mid peak with the flash from the Arch player, but yes, it's info, but they had a player, the T player in apps there, so they're still a bit wary about it. They don't stick around too long rather. So the Arch util comes out from Tuckbook, and Tuckbook's main role is just to make noise, but Royalty aren't buying it. They've rotated another player over towards this B bomb side. EXE's playing up close, and this is more of a one and done position, but Zio without head armor, he should be good. A bad flash thrown in with a good flash to pair with. Allow for him to peek. Zio good for 1, but Doobie takes down Spaz with the molly, and God's not dead takes down Zio. And great play there from Royalty. That bad flash that's thrown initially, along with the pop flash that comes in later, ultimately allows them to get the opening frags of the round, but Tuckbook is not having any of it. He takes down Leggy towards Arch, and now CT control goes the way of WRG, but there's the player on lane with the bomb. Donkey is tasked with anchoring down the same bomb side. He can drop the molly and take these fights 1-on-1. Oh, pushing the molly is custom, and now it's a 2v2 retake. God's not dead, 9 points of health, and it looks like it could be WRG's second on the board.
Yeah, and again, it would be courtesy of what looked to be an eco round for the most part, right? Just Custom, who had sort of invested a bit more than everybody else, but this is still doable for Royalty. Fairly low health and God's not dead, however. Both him and Doobie are going to be coming from the same points, and you can see God's not dead looking to lead the charge. He wants to Doobie would have spotted both of the players on the entry. He took down Tuckbook first, and then I'm sure his plan was to swivel across and try and take down Tuckbook's teammate. But in the end, Tuckbook was too quick on the trigger. He picks up both of the kills, and a super important round goes the way of WRG. Now they just need to start getting these wins when they've got some guns in their hands, Nick, not just the pistols.
Yeah, 100%. And you alluded to it prior, like maybe they should figure out things more towards B, and Royalty seem to have that site under lock and key, right? They had the play, they had the peaks, they had the early man advantages, but ultimately just the mid round going the way of WRG with that 2-man, they're finding their A-bomb site pretty much vacant besides that of Donkey, but the early nade damage, oh, they're so low. Doobie's playing with fire. He's able to get 2 on the spray down. Actually, Spaz burns his teammate. That's a bit of a pepper hands, but either as it may, that should be Kobe. Oh, every time big nade, it's never a big nade. Next time they throw a nade, we just don't care. We just be like, yeah, he's throwing.
Welcome to being a commentator.
Yeah.
Oh wait, also I thought you were right about everything, Nick.
No.
You didn't say Kobe there, did you? You know, and Doobie still, you know, with 26 health, alive and kicking. You know, maybe nudge, wink, wink. No, of course. It's just a conspiracy. It's just a conspiracy. So WRG with 3 players left are going to be grouping up all their resources and working their way towards Archers, where Leggy is transitioned away from, and he's actually going to get caught off guard as he makes his way back to the angle. So this has given WRG an in on the round. Donkey is the only player in the A bomb site right now. He's rooted in pits and he's got a big job to do. Going to try and drop the molly to buy some time, but these players are going to be ahead of that molly. So now he wants to just try and stay alive for as long as he can. As he drops the smoke, they begin pursuing him. There's also the rotation coming through thick and fast though. Tuckbook does take down Ruby, but the trade is there from Exy, and it leaves Spaz in the 1v3 clutch. He's been quiet so far in Inferno, but all his transgressions will be forgiven if he can pull off the he's able to get the first, but he's in such an awkward position afterwards, pretty much in no man's land. So the trade is immediate for Exy, and that's going to be the 7th round for Royalty. Again, immediately after WRG have won the round, they get back with a round win of their own.
I really want to sing Donkey's praises in that round. I mean, the other night we were speaking about how well Elusive plays the pit position. Like, your one job there is not to get kills, it's just to stay alive and buy time for your teammates, and that's exactly what Donkey did. Yes, he knew they were pushing their position, but him dropping that smoke means that if a WRG player is going to press the issue, he's not going to have the best time. He was spraying through a smoke, wasting time, not clearing angles, and ultimately Donkey is staying alive. Him being that nuisance in pit, he's able for his teammates to come in on the rotate and clean out the round pretty effectively. But a 3-man banana take is going the way of Royalty, and again, what you mentioned prior, they, instead of smoking deep in that sort of regard, they choose a deep molly, allows them to keep another smoke and ultimately buy them more 8 seconds. But it's another buy round coming out from WRG, and a round that they need to start looking at getting round wins again, not just those ecos, not just those pistol rounds. It's got to be rounds with some weight to them, rounds that really damage Royalty.
Yeah, absolutely. At least they've got that round behind them, but again, they just lose a player and there's no response from anybody. Zio's going to get caught off guard by God's Not Dead as well, so it's completely falling apart at the seams right now. This A bomb site has just proven to be a nightmare for WRG. The only time they were successfully able to take full control was when they had the eco. Other than that, it's literally been a slaughter on this side of the map for the T's. And they've every now and again they've been able to get Archer control, but that only matters for so much when you can't get onto the bomb sites itself.
God's Not
seconds
Dead
left here.
Position in live, which is going to be pretty tough, but Spaz, he's pushing up N1. I think the bomb has been spotted. The 2 rotates have been called in. God's Not Dead, he's actually going to get spammed through the smoke, but it's a 3v4. 3v3 custom doing the work, but the bomb's been dropped. 10 seconds left on the clock. Doobie running and gunning with the MP9, getting everything done. Tuckbook now 1 point of health, 5 seconds left. He's unable to win the round. Doobie takes him out, and 8-2 is the score, and Royalty seems to be running away with this third map haze.
They certainly are, and it's all predicated off just this really solid CT side now. They're just throwing in like moments of a bit of aggression, especially towards Bananas, where they're showing the most aggression. Over at the A bomb site, they're quite happy to just sit back in the site, hold their angles, get their crossfires set up. They're not giving any of their lives away by contesting middle in the early stages of the round. They're happy to just drop back after the early engagement, and that's why WRG are struggling so much, because every time they're going A, there's 3 players alive on the site. They need to do a better job of taking out B, pulling Doobie the spray down, he finds 3 kills, eventually he'll go down. This is doable for WRG. These are actually the rounds that they've had the most success in so far, where they just throw caution to the wind. Yeah.
For a fact, he's asking his teammates how we didn't get 1. How didn't you get 1? But neither is it. He's definitely molding, but Tuckbook, he has armor. The same can't be said about Custom, but Royalty, they still got 3 mollies actually, so theoretically you molly out all these positions, second oranges, emo and family, and you should really be able to win this round. But they're just taking these gunfights as they like it. Custom's been mollied out, he's on 30 points of health, and him crossing in the open, he's actually going to be greeted with the second molly. There we go, pretty decent retake coming out from Royalty. 9-2 is the score, and in previous round WRG, they shouldn't really have had a say in this round, being the buy that they had, but they were able to get a bomb plant at the least. But at the end of the day, it's not bomb plants that you're looking for when you're 8-2, 9-2 down. You need the round wins. You need the points on the board.
Yeah, you certainly do, and those rounds are very starting to quickly diminish. In fact, their chances to get those rounds, rather, let me say. Do you know what just happened there with the stab in the back? I bet he had pressed tab, and he was trying to click on the change stats button. He just missed it, so he just pressed mouse button 1 and knifed his teammate.
Oh, the mollies.
He's getting into double peeking around the corner. He's actually able to get 2 kills. This is one of the better situations that WRG have found themselves in once they've had rifles in their hands, taking control of this B bomb site. Just hoping that they can keep all 3 players alive. Oh no, Custom just shows slightly too much of himself, just trying to get the util down. So again, Royalty are going to have the man advantage in the retake. They boost players up. Donkey getting the elevation. Looking to try and catch one of these players off guard. The pop flash in, trying to get Zio into position to find the kill. Spaz finds his first frag of the map. Continuing to charge forward though. Leggy off, who has the use on the angle. Spaz is going to be able to take him down. But you know, all in the meanwhile, the defuse is actually being stuck. It's Donkey who's sticking it down and he's actually going to be able to complete it. Even though Spaz finds the frag, it's going to be of little consolation. And I don't blame Spaz for not completely wide swinging there. I would have thought just the mere fact that he had been, you know, very vocal in his approach with those loud footsteps, that maybe the CT player would have been compelled to let go of the defuse. That's what Spaz was hoping for. In the end, it doesn't happen. Royalty get their 10th, and they continue their surge here on the CT side.
10-2, and as I said, it seems like they're running away with it, but they're going to throw the sonic smoke once again. Doobie's going to peek behind it. That extinguishes the molly and allows for a one-way, but nade response once again is so well placed by Royalty. The second nade, not so much from Doobie, but the first one by XE does great amounts of damage, and especially on the CT side, when you have an M4 and a FAMAS that don't one-shot headshots, more so the M4, obviously the Galil doesn't one-shot headshot either, but when you have those M4s, those inferior weaponries to the AKs, a well-placed nade makes your M4 an AK in that regard. So if you can tag them down by 15 or 20 points of health in that regard, then your M4s become just that more potent. But the aggression from Doobie is perfect. He's able to take down Carl, and the molly dropped in response by EXE. It means that the trade can't come in. Leggy over towards Porch. He's good for 1. And as we said, the opening duels, they're just going Royalty's way. They're really running away with this. Leggy's able to get a second and a third. Leggy, he's turned up. He is ready on round 13. He's already posted 3, and it's Custom left in another 1vx. This time it's a 1v5, and God's Not Dead not really caring about the idea that he could be T-Ramp, but
yeah,
it seems like it's going to be 11-2, and Royalty, they're absolutely wiping the floor with WRG in this third map.
I mean, ever since that first half on Nuke, WRG haven't been the same team, right? I mean, heading into that CT side, they looked all over the show. They only managed to actually win 3 rounds in their entire CT side, whereas Royalty were actually able to pick up 9, so it was a very one-sided performance there. And now coming into Inferno, they've struggled so much. They just haven't been able to get any consistency going. They haven't been able to make their A execute work throughout the entirety of this map so far. They're getting shut down by Leggies off now as well, and it's just going from worse to worse right now, as WRG looks to happen this time towards middle. This is actually something Royalty haven't done throughout this entire half, is get unnecessarily aggressive, and it seems like they might get punished, but look at God's Not Dead. He's identified an opportunity. He's working behind him. He misses his first shot. He's able to put away, find another, and he takes down Custom, who's charging up middle. And again, it's all fallen apart for WRG. They were actually in a pretty good position in that round, but things just not going their way whatsoever. Leggy drops the smoke to extinguish the fire. He's got support from Doody, who's just tapping away, picking up his 16th kill. He's top of the scoreboard. In fact, these guys are fragging like mad lads at the moment. Donkey's got 15, God's Not Dead has 16, Doobie has 16, Leggy has 13. Xy's just chilling. He got all those frags on Nuke. He says, "Alright boys, show me what you got. It's your turn."
Yeah, he said, I've done the hard yards on Nuke. I'm throwing all the util this game. He's already close to... He's done 370 nade damage this game. He's got 100% headshots, you know. He just wants that, you know, less of a sample size, you know.
Yeah.
100% headshot. That's all the experience. He knows it. So 12-2, and now you're in a bit of a predicament on WRG. 12-2 is that scoreline. But as you said, last round getting a bit preemptive with the peaks. Royalty, they haven't really been caught out. Last round they did. This round they're getting caught out once more. But 12-2 is the score, and 12-3 as a half. That's a tough scoreline to get back from. That is really a tough one to the mind games and the mental fortitude you need if you're WRG. But I definitely don't doubt that this is the roster that could get something done. Custom and God's Not Dead. I mean, EXE and God's Not Dead draw things back. Even after WRG have the man advantage, they make it a man disadvantage as CT control is going the way of WRG, but they're pressing the bomb site. Leggy up closer personally. He's able to get a quick shot onto Zio now. In the bomb site, EXE, he's got to save some time. He's crossed over towards second origin. They're going to line up for him. They don't, but Kyle comes in with the trader. 1v3, turn 1v2, and God's Not Dead and Doggy. They're choosing to play this together. The bomb is going to be planted back Fountain. 5 with 13 is Kyle. He wants to get the better stats, and I assume the footsteps have been heard. And the double swing is going to come in. Flash is going to reveal his position, and Doggy comes in with the frag, and 13-2 is the half. And with the CT showing like this from Royalty, you're understanding how is this possibly the third map? How has it gone the distance when you've been playing this well on Inferno?
Well, I mean, fortunately, the one thing I can say is at least they were able to regather themselves after dust, and that wasn't like the beginning of their demise, you know. That wasn't the beginning of their end, because that was their map pick and they looked nowhere, to be fair. Even on Nuke in that first half, they were looking a bit shaky, but ever since then they've been able to show their true colors, and it's been a fantastic performance so far. 13-2 up here in the deciding map, Inferno, the classic decider in Counter-Strike Global Offensive. WRG absolutely need to win this pistol round to keep themselves alive here. Do they have what it takes? They've got 2 HE grenades, a smoke, and the flash. Quite an interesting set of util. Whereas Royalty have got 2 flashes, 2 smokes, and a molly. Everything they need to make the exec happen towards the B bomb site. And it's just Doobie over at A right now. Maybe just looking to show a little bit of presence, or he's going to go into full lurk. It seems it's going to be lurk mode, because Royalty are already setting up for the execute. All the utils raining in, they cross all their T spots, all their eyes, and they make sure they give themselves every chance as they're working their way into this bomb site. Spazlo able to take down one, and Zio finds a kill of his own, so immediately they have weakened this Royalty side as they limp their way onto this B bomb site. So Doobie, he pulls out the knife, but Tucker laughs at him and says, "What are you doing, my guy?" Now he's going to try and get himself across, where the crossfire is set up on the B bomb site between Family and Dark Corner, but surely there's no way that Royalty lose this. They have two player advantage. Leggy though, he swings out a pillar, he's able to get a kill. He might have to do a bit more though. He's going to be able to take down Custom as well. God's Not Dead activates and he's removed Spaz from the equation. All in the meanwhile, Tuckbook saying, "Guys, why didn't you just wait for me? I needed a few seconds. We had the kit, we had everything we needed, we had the time. You didn't have to push." Because all three
how I
players
said
were
you're
coming
never
from
wrong?
the same angle. Yes, I'm wrong.
You actually, I know you meant WRG. They have no chance of losing this, but you actually said Royalty. So you actually subconsciously knew that Royalty were going to win the round. So 14-2, and Royalty are absolutely running away with this. And this is something we've commented on many times. Like, you were literally 13-2 down, and you've lost the pistol. And now you're like, okay, guys, it's 14-2. We just lost the pistol. Let's call attack. Like, surely at some points in the game you would have thought maybe there's time to talk things over, but this is only the first tack they've used. But be it as it may, it's a small little thing we don't see teams in South Africa use often, using their attacks very strategically, talk things over, possibly talk something out. But it's a bit late. I mean, you're 14-2, you just lost pistol round, you're going for a bit of a force buy in this round, full deagles and everyone, but it's a bit late in that regard. But you can still come back from 14-2 though. We've seen it before,
man.
So
stop being so diplomatic.
a bit of a
Nick.
stretch.
This
But
game's
they're
done.
not coming
this
back.
game's in the dumpster.
They're not
it's
coming
lit
back.
on fire.
Yeah.
It's burning. They've thrown a bit more petrol on it as well.
Yeah.
There's a puppy. You know what?
All that
no,
good stuff.
Jesus.
Whoa,
Where are
whoa,
you
whoa,
going with
whoa,
that,
whoa.
man? Calm
Why
down.
did you, yo? Okay.
WRG, they opted to force buy in this round, so they decided instead of, you know, saving and allowing Royalty to get to 15, where they then can buy up a few rifles, they want to try and immediately get back into things here on the CT side. Personally, I would have opted for the save and wait until you had rifles. Whether Royalty are on 15 rounds or 14 rounds, it actually doesn't make that much of a difference in the grand scheme of things, because they're already so far behind. So I say let them get to 15, and then you actually get a chance to fight back with rifles. Whereas if they lose this force buy, it's probably the end of the game regardless. Anyway, let's see what Royalty can do here in this all-important round. Looks like they're going to go for the B split. They've got 2 players towards the top of Banana. Also, nice smoke. They're blocking off the A sides and library, and now they're just going to be charging their way through lane, pushing themselves forward aggressively, catching the first player off. Now there's 2 players still in this B bomb side. Custom ready and waiting on the angle. He has his weapon of choice, the Desert Eagle. Goes quite beautiful. He nearly connects on the body shots as well, but he goes down, and that means Royalty now have full control of this B bomb site.
And I agree with you 100%. If you go down 15-2, you're pretty much in the same boat. But with you forcing in this round and what looks like you're losing this round, which pretty much is that kill onto the Spaz, pretty much ensures that now this round you've got peanuts. You've got
Yeah, literally.
maybe you buy up a scout. Maybe custom gets a scout. You get deagles once more, 5.7s, maybe MP9s, but you've got no util. You as you said, right? You want the best possibility as your comeback, and that is with M4s. That is with
Yeah.
AWPs. Like the likelihood of you having an AWP after losing the first 2 rounds and reinvesting into it is pretty low, but you still have those M4s which allow you for the best opportunity at a comeback as possible. But they I guess it's just different points of view. But be there
Yeah.
as it may, you're 15-2 down. It is what it is at this stage.
If
It's
they
a
won
max
the
7 on
force buy,
Spaz.
if they won the force buy, then we'll be
Yeah.
saying, like, great decision to go for the force buy so that they can,
100%,
try and get
100%.
back straight into it as quickly as they can. So it's just different schools of thoughts. Obviously, you and I agree that maybe the more passive option is the better approach, but WRG also probably quite frustrated at the situation right now. And when a team does start to get frustrated, they tend to force buy probably a bit more than they should. Anyway, do or die now. They need to win 13 consecutive rounds to take this game to overtime. It seems like an absolutely massive mountain for them to try and scale, but all big climbs start with the first step, Nick.
And they need that first step. They're fighting for their life in the tournament. I mean, the loser goes home, and it seems like it's WRG. I mean, there's all the possibility that they win this round, but it doesn't look like it's going to be the case. We're on third person because why not? We're playing PUBG.
Exactly.
We're pushing. Donkey. Oh, but he gets taken up by Custom. But EXE with the trade-off to tuck book, and we just die. Donkey. He's got a that ass though. 4v3.
I just want you to cast this rest of this round with grunts and groans.
Okay.
You did a
There's the
fantastic
game.
job. Thank you, 16-2.
There's the game.
Alright, I'm sorry guys, I just that was quite a comical end, but oh my word, what a performance from Royalty. They did a fantastic job on Inferno. They brought the fire and the flames. They continued that dominant run from the second half on Nuke all the way into Inferno. Their CT side was really simple, but played to perfection. They progress, they move on. They will be facing Sinister 5 tomorrow night, whereas WRG, commiserations boys, they've been eliminated from the event. Their 9-month run through all 3 legs in the Premier, in the Masters division, moving through into the group stage, fighting their way into this lower brackets, beating Clutch Kings last night. Finally, their massive journey, it's come to an end, and Royalty led to their demise.
Firm handshakes all around, and at the end of the day, one team had to go home tonight, and unfortunately tonight it was, for WRG's case, it was themselves, it was the Rabbits. GG's to both teams. WRG, commiserations to you, and ultimately Royalty go through, as you said, face Sin 5 tomorrow night, which is the rematch that lately wanted. He's so keen. He's watering at the mouth. He's drooling right now for this match to come through. So, I mean, I'm excited to see how that unfolds, but ultimately WRG's road comes to an end, along with the other 3 teams that would have lost tonight. Unfortunately, all of them, that we say goodbye to them. But tomorrow night, we're back at it. We're back at it with another game.
We are.
And I don't know what game's getting cast. I don't know.
Well, we haven't
decided
actually.
yet?
We haven't, because obviously it's been really tough to predict what the brackets are going to be looking like, because we're like all of those games tomorrow night depended on what happened tonight. So we'll go do some theory crafting and figure out what the best choice is.
You know how people will know what games you're casting?
Well, I know. Do you know?
I
know?
think it's by following me and Hayes on Twitter, and by hitting the follow button on the Twitch channel. I'm pretty sure that's the way. I mean, that's the way, 100%. So follow Hayes on Twitter at Hayes Castings, and follow myself at Nick Bart, and we'll be sure to catch you tomorrow night for some more Counter-Strike action.
Just one last thing before we kick off. I just want to break down the map results. The first map all the way back. We began proceedings on Dust 2, which was Royalty's map pick, and they got dogged. WRG were firmly in control of that whole game. They looked really confident and composed as well. All of the players were hitting their shots. They closed that out 16-9. Then we went across to Nuke, which is obviously then WRG's map pick, and they started out actually with a great performance in their first half. I think it was like 8-7 on their T side. Heading into the CT side, they looked like they were on the home stretch after they won that pistol round, but then Royalty just had an absolutely great run on their T side. They picked up something like 6 or 7 consecutive rounds. They went all the way up 15-9. We saw a few more rounds from WRG, but it actually got closed out quite swiftly, 16-11 in the end for Royalty, and they didn't look back from there. Heading into Inferno, it was a one-man show. It was a one-team show. They dominated their proceedings. They looked great on the CT side. Like I said, it was actually super simple from them as well, but that it was really effective as well. They did everything they needed to perfection. So congratulations to Royalty. They booked the rematch against Sinister 5. WRG are eliminated, and Nick, that's everything for tonight, my man.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, as I said once more, commiserations to both teams and Luco WRG, but ultimately it's a well fought out win for Royalty. They spammed the sheep, they got the reverse sweep, and ultimately GG's to both teams. And it happened, you know, one team had to get knocked out, and unfortunately tonight it was the Rabbits, but they'll definitely be back next year without a doubt in my mind. They'll be back. They'll be ready, and
So
yeah,
2
100%.
reverse sweeps in 2 nights in a row. I mean, who would have thought?
Maybe
right?
tomorrow night's the same thing, you know. Maybe finals.
Do
Maybe
you think the
imagine a
teams
reverse
are
sweep in the
watching? You know,
finals.
it's just like, all right, so guys, for us to win, we need to lose the first map.
Definitely, that's definitely what teams are thinking.
Just before I let everybody go, I just want to let you know what's happening in the other games. XD playing against Ekasi. XD won the first map 16-8. Ekasi won Inferno 16-11. They're currently on Overpass, where XD are leading 13-5. So XD should be moving on in the bracket, while Ekasi will be getting eliminated. Online Kingdom played against Omnius Gaming. The first map went to overtime, Nick. It was Vertigo. Online Kingdom won 19-17. There couldn't have been a more stark contrast or a bigger contrast between the first and the second map, because Online Kingdom, they won the second map 16-0. They absolutely destroyed them in such an important game as well. So that's a super rare occasion. Anyway, that's how the other matches went. Of course, Sinister 5, they beat Team Mist after a very challenging second map, but they won 2-0 in the end, and that is the conclusion of all our lower bracket matches for the evening. So with that, Nick, I'm going to give you an opportunity to say any final words, and then we're going to be out of here.
Firstly, I just want to say thank you to everyone who tuned into the stream. I know not everyone that was here at the start is going to be here at the finish, but ultimately the 40 odd of you that are still here, very much appreciate the support. I'm pretty sure I speak on Hayes' behalf on this as well.
100%.
Very much appreciate you guys coming to watch, typing in chat, supporting your team, or
Absolutely,
regardless.
man.
We 100% support. Appreciate the support, and we hope we see you guys some other time. I know I'm seeing definitely some familiar names in chat now and again, so hopefully that becomes more familiarity throughout the tournament, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow night.
There we go, guys. From Nick's mouth to your ears. Make sure you join us 8 p.m. tomorrow night. Same place, same time. We're going to have another banging match. It's going to be a lower bracket game again. So we're going to be seeing tears. We're going to be seeing joy. Someone's going to be getting eliminated. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your evening, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow. Good night.